What's going on, everyone? It's Nina Infinity. Welcome to my channel on this Sunday, where we're going to be reviewing the Apple TV Plus show Severance. And preface this, it's going to be a spoiler review. So if you haven't seen the show, you might want to go and watch it and then come back, because we will be getting into the nitty gritty crazy trip that is this show. And with me today is the woman who recommended this show to me. I have beef with you, Jane. I've got beef.
It's amazing.
How are you, Jane?
I am fantastic. Happy to be here and talking about this amazing show.
I'm so happy you're here. Hold on. I'm going to adjust my mic so that it's actually okay. Here we go. Sorry. I should have done this before the show. Okay, we're here. We're good. Yeah, so I'm glad that you're here. Please tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me here on YouTube, where I post movie and television reviews and occasionally some pop culture commentary. You can also find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Jane Theory.
Woo! Woo! The links are in the description. We also have Ms. Martin Muses. How are you today, Miss Martin Muses?
Hey, I'm doing fantastic. I loved this show, and I'm not mad at Jane. I'm very happy with you, Jane.
No, I'm happy with you because it was a great show. I'm mad that it was season 1 and there was a cliffhanger, and I was like,
one hell of a cliffhanger. Yeah, it's a happy kind of thing. Yeah, but great recommendation. And of course, you can find me here on YouTube, and we're talking about right now. I'm talking about Symbolism on my channel, and so yay, always good to be here.
Nice. I'm very happy you're here. Unfortunately, Script Doctor couldn't make it today. He's not feeling very well. So everybody, if you have access to a Twitter, go to his Twitter and wish him well. He's not feeling well. And George will most likely be back with us next week, because he had some family issues he had to deal with too. So he'll most likely be back next week. But we have a lot to discuss, though. Us ladies here. It's going to be another ladies' night, and we are here for it. This is going to be an amazing stream. And holy bashamoli! Low water mark for 50 smackaroos. You ladies are great, is all he says. Well, thank you so much. My goodness, I'm kind of left speechless like right now. Okay, thank you, low water mark. I wonder if you've even seen the show. Have you seen the show? What did you think of it? Let us know. Thank you so much for that $50. Wow. Hold on. Let me try and I feel like I need to play a clip for this.
Yes.
Which one should I play, you guys? Should I play the Rape Crisis Center from RoboCop, or should I play what should I play? Should I play Apu saying thank you and shooting people?
That would be hilarious.
I don't know. Something that we don't want to shoot people at Super Chat. That's not very nice.
I know. I love you, low watermark. So this is all good jokes, okay? Don't get offended.
Thank you for coming. I'll see you in hell.
That was a terrible clip. I need to get better thank you clips. I feel like I abuse my audience, and I totally don't mean that.
Was it John Talks has that one with Biden going, thank you.
I know. I feel like I'm being abused every time I look at that now. Here's another one, just for the fun of it, just for funsies.
If it's clear and yellow, you've got juice there, fella. If it's tangy and brown, you're in cider town. Now, there's 2 exceptions, and it gets kind of
tricky. You can stay, but I'm leaving.
Yellow if they're using late season apples. And of course, in Canada, the whole thing's flip-flop.
If you're in Canada, the whole thing's flip-flop. Okay, low water mark said LOL, so I guess he's enjoyed that. Thank God. Okay. Woo. All right, we're good. We got a show. This show, my gosh, I don't. Where do we even begin? Okay, let's start it. Let's start it with I guess how we usually do everything. Let's start with our overall thoughts of the show.
Yeah.
And then go from there, because I do have all of it, so we can kind of like go scene by scene if we need to, but it's gonna take forever, so we'll just kind of like go along with it, and whatever we feel like we need to talk about, I'll find the scene and I'll bring it up. But Jane, how about we start with you since you're the one that
Yeah.
recommended this show? Let us know what you thought overall.
Overall, I love shows and films that really make you think. But I also like horror, and this sort of does both. It's like you get these very deep questions about things like consciousness and free will and what it means to be
Mhm.
human, right? Also work, work-life
Yeah.
balance and what that means and what you're willing to risk or give and sacrifice for that.
Yes.
But then it also has like this deep, like I love how the show ratchets up the horror over time
Mhm.
to where you
Yes.
are just on edge, and it has so many mysteries, but they don't. It's written well. I'll just say that. I love the writing, I love the pacing, the story. It's very unique and original.
Hmm.
Just loved it. Loved it.
That's one of the things I really liked was that it was such an original idea. Like I'm a huge sci-fi fan, so it's like I feel like there's really not that much originality left when it comes to sci-fi. Like whenever you see a sci-fi show, usually there's a lot of tropes. Like even with
Yeah.
like, Raised by Wolves that we watched, it was like
Mhm.
all very like, tropes that we already know of. And I thought that this show had a really good grasp of like, let's be original and go about it this way instead
Right.
of what everybody else does. So I agree with you on there. How about you, Teresa? What did you think?
Oh yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I agree with Jane Theory talking about it being a horror show. And for me, the horror was I related far too much to their inner lives, the way it was in that environment. Even though I didn't work in an office environment, but just all the little things in there that they were doing to try to convince you were really happy and not being abused, and then when that one character at the end, when she's like, "They're torturing us," and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god, I was being tortured." I mean, and then how you'd have to put on a smile all day while you're at work, while you were
Yeah.
dying
Mhm.
inside.
The fake parties and all that.
Oh my
Yes,
God.
yes,
That
the bonding experiences, and oh, we're bonding over an egg drop challenge. That
Right.
I love that
You met your
stuff because if
quota.
you've
yes,
worked in a corporate environment,
hmm
like that shit hits home
Yes.
real close. You're like,
hmm
"Oh my God, this is literally the story of my life." Like that's why that's why I love The Office. Like The Office is a show
Mhm.
is like it's really
hmm
close to that, but this is like kind of like that in the sense that like it shows the ins and outs of a corporate environment and being involved in a corporation, but also the nightmare of it, like the
Right.
nightmare aspect.
yes.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Like this,
The work is
you're
so much
going,
hell. Yeah, you have to
yes.
sever your soul to survive.
And you're going in and day out, and you feel like you're doing the same thing over and over again. And it's, in that sense, the nuances was really just hammered in. And I
Yeah.
really, really like those. But sorry, Teresa, I interrupted you. Tell me
Oh,
more.
no, and I'm sorry too. I didn't. You know how it works. Sometimes you think someone stopped, and then you join in, and then it's too late.
Mhm.
Yeah, no worries.
But yeah, so like so the show starts out really weird. I'm gonna compliment the show with the start, in fact, because oftentimes we're watching a show and then you get to like the very beginning of the show and you're like, well, what the hell is this show about? Right. And then you realize that the first thing that you see, the first like 10-15 minutes really grasps you or it
Yeah.
doesn't. And for me, it did. I was like, holy F, what did I just sign up for?
Yeah.
Yep, there we oh, look at that, yes.
It's so symbolic of
Mhm.
everything in the show and what it's about.
Mhm. And that's kind of how it starts. It starts with this woman kind of like sprawled out on the table. It's a corporate table. It's a very
That's sad.
corporate environment, and you're like, huh? Because like when I first started watching it, and she's like waking up, and there's a voice. You think to yourself, I was thinking to myself, like immediately I go to, is she abducted? Like
Right.
Mhm.
is she kidnapped, abducted? Is this aliens? Is this some sort of kidnapping, like, ransom? What's going on? Is this like a recreated thing in an alien spaceship? Or is she
Mhm.
like, or is she actually on Earth and kidnapped? Is she dead? Yes, that was something that I
Mhm.
thought about.
That's
Is
what I
she
thought,
dead?
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because later on in the episode, she's like, "Am I dead?" And the guy's like, "No, you're not dead." So like there's a lot of stuff that went through my mind as I was watching this dialogue occur. And then certain things happened while she was having this discussion with this man on this thingy here.
Sure.
That it kind of was like really like such a strange conversation. And she starts like just being like, "Who are you? Like, who's speaking?" And it becomes something even stranger because the responses as he ends up giving seem almost a little too human. So you're like, okay, this is definitely not an alien thing, and this is definitely like something that is very grounded.
Yeah.
And he almost like kind of sounds in a way like at first I thought it was kind of like robotic, like AI, because then he goes, "I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself. Let me start over." And I was like, what the fuck? Like what is this? What is this? It just seems really strange. Um, and then it like the scene ends, right? And then you
Yeah.
get to like a point where she's kind of like dealing because he's like, I'll give you 5 survey questions if you answer this. She's like, well, what do I get at the end if I get it right? And he goes, well, it depends on how you answer the questions. And I'm like, at this point, it was really weird because, you think to yourself immediately, and that's why I think this is a successful show in that sense, at least in this first scene, is that I thought of what would I do if I was in this situation,
Yeah.
right? And I don't think I would fight immediately. Like, I think my instinct would be like to try and negotiate with the voice without knowing what is actually going on. Like, for me, like my initial thing was like, okay, the guy is telling me clearly I don't have a exit. Like I'll try the door. I don't have an exit. There's no windows. There's nothing going on. There's a power structure here, and he clearly has the power. So I would be going kind of like, well, I'll give you answer for answer. You
Yeah.
ask me a question and I'll answer it, but I get to ask you a question. But she didn't do that. What did you guys think in that first scene?
Well, everything that you were just saying, but I also felt like she was so discombobulated as well. So I don't know if you've ever had a surgery. When you come out of the anesthesia, it's like an out of body experience, and you don't even for a while know what's real or whatever, and you hear all these voices from far away and all that. Very much reminded me of that.
Yes. Also, she's a redhead, says
She
Solon.
is.
She is. I was shocked at this. I was like, what? There's a redhead protagonist? I'm in already just for the redhead protagonist.
But
That
you
is
know what?
freaking
They
rare.
made her a little bit of a stereotype because she's fiery as well.
That is true. It's so funny because I started watching this with my husband. Like, I kind of forced him to watch it, although now he's like, I'm not watching the rest of this because I told him that it ends on a cliffhanger. So he's like,
Aw.
no, I'm done. But like, he was like, she reminds me of Chrissy Mayer because she was all spicy and like saying like, she was just all like spicy and redheaded. And he's like, yeah, she reminds me of Chrissy Mayer because she's so like sultry and like, so fiery. And I was like, oh, I don't mind this. It's pretty good.
Wasn't cracking as many jokes though.
She
Yeah.
was so resistant to it, though, like violently resistant. And it was like, what is this? Who is holding her here?
Yes. But
How
you know
did
what's
she
so
get
crazy,
here?
Jane, is my thought immediately went to at the end of the scene before we got to like the guy.
Mhm.
My immediate thought went in like to, I think she's holding herself here. This seems like this is something
Really?
that, yeah, my immediate thought went to this must have been a voluntary experiment because you
Wow.
start to think to yourself because he's asking certain questions like, what's your name? Where are you from? What country or what city or country can you name in the United States? What's the color of your mother's eyes? I forget I think that was it, right? What was your name? I think date of birth. I don't remember, but that was about it. But the questions that they asked, it seemed to me like it was something to do with memory. And usually, if you're, and that's why I went into immediately thinking that this
Right.
is a voluntary thing, because I thought to myself, what if it's like a government experiment that she's volunteered for? Like
So
that's kind of
personal.
like where I went. It wasn't like so much like, oh, it's it might be like a, you know, whatever they had. I thought it might be a government experiment that she's signed up for, and she
Yeah.
doesn't realize it now.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and you
but
weren't too far off. Eventually, you
Right.
kind of figured
no,
it
I
out.
wasn't
Yeah.
too far off at all because it was kind of like that. The scene immediately changes though after she kind of figures out what is happening to this guy crying in the car. And you guys know how I have a bit of a revulsion about men crying, so I was like,
Oh, I love men crying, but
why is this dude crying in this car? Like this seems kind of soy already. Like what's happening?
Just getting ready to
Um,
turn it off.
yeah, I'm just like, oh no,
no.
like where are we going with this? With this men crying in the car thing? And then something weird happens where he goes. He's very like he's crying, like he's bawling his eyes out. Then he goes into this building, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, look at this government building. It looks kind of very surreal and weird. Talks to this lady. He goes into this elevator. He goes and changes. He takes a
Yeah.
bunch of like key cards. He switches his shoes. He switches his watch. He does this kind of thing that's kind of a procedure, right? He goes into this elevator, and this effect happens to
Oh
him.
my God.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think of the effect? Because the effect, I was kind of like, what the hell just I thought he went into another dimension or something. I was like, what is this? Like,
That
this
was
is getting weirder.
Oh my God, that was so freaking amazing. And in fact, throughout the show, seeing their different personalities and the transformation,
Mm-hmm.
the acting in the show, impeccable.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Magnificent. That one scene, I'm sorry, I'm skipping ahead, but that one scene where he's like, he just witnessed her try to kill herself.
Yeah.
And then like he comes back and he's like, he's fine because he's like the normal person. And then he goes, and he's just like immediately he's like in that mode again because he just saw her try and kill herself, but then it's been like this disconnect. But then he comes back and it's like immediately the next moment for him. Oh my God. Like I was like, oh, that's good acting. Like there's some real good stuff going on here. And then the other thing was, by the way, with regards to a few things like on the overall show, one, holy schmoly, the soundtrack. Like I was so into
superb.
that piano. Ooh, like all of it was so good and matched with the series so well.
Oh
And
my
then
God.
the cinematography, I was like, this is
Every scene, and that's what I love
The
shows
direction.
and films when you could literally take a photograph, an
Mhm.
image, and put it on the wall. It's art. I mean,
It
this
is.
show is as much art as it is entertainment.
It is. And you said something interesting too, Jane. You were like, I wish they would make a video game of this. And I
Yes!
almost wish that they would make a video game of it too, because it was fun. I was like, ooh, I
It
kind of want to
was.
I want to play as these characters. I wonder what happens.
Oh, I don't know because I related too much to these characters. Especially the part where he's crying in the car before he goes into work.
Oh
And
my
oh my
God.
gosh, I'm like, I am relating way too much to this.
Oh
And
my
then
God.
you put on your makeup real fast to cover up your puffy eyes,
Mhm.
and then and for them the transformation happened in the elevator. For us it would just be from going to our car to the front door of our place of work. Yeah.
This part says they changed the focal length of the lens. They did.
They do,
It was a cool
yeah.
effect. It
Yeah.
was just, it's a very basic effect, but it's very cool, and it kind of really captures the idea of what is happening. It's just, because at first I was like, what the happened? Because I thought maybe he went to like, I literally thought I thought he went to another dimension or something.
Yeah.
Like I was like, is he going into like another space and time or something? But they were just trying to say that basically the chip in his brain is being
Right.
activated.
And it also kind of relayed a feeling. Like whenever I see them do that,
Mhm.
I can't even describe it. It's weird, but it makes me feel the scene.
Mhm.
Like
It does.
conveys
I
how
agree.
must be experiencing it.
I mean, who
I
knew
agree
Ben
with that.
Stiller? Oh my gosh, I don't know what planet I've been on. The talent that he had putting this together, the direction.
Right.
Thank you for bringing that up, Teresa, because in the end, when it goes directed by Ben Stiller, I was like, I had to take a double take. Like I had to rewind and be like, excuse me? Like, who directed this? And it was like Ben Stiller, like the comedian.
Mhm.
And I was like,
Yeah, I had to Google it to make sure it was the same Ben Stiller.
me
It's like
too.
maybe it was a different name.
I know. I was
Guy,
like, maybe
rather,
it's
with
like
the
the
same name.
same dude, but with like with somebody else with
Someone's
the
name.
same
Yeah.
name. But no, it turned out to be Ben Stiller, like the comedian. And my gosh, I did not know that he had a talent for directing. And obviously, he has enough talent to know that this script that he picked, like the pilot that he picked, because he's also the executive producer on the show. So he's the one that picked this show. He read the pilot. I read some of the interviews with him, and he really liked the idea. It's his baby. It's his kind of like it's his show that he decided to do, and it really gives you, a mind into how talented Ben Stiller is. Off camera as well. Chili
Yeah.
Keen brings up a really cool point as well. I love the retro style office, and obviously that is something that's inescapable. You cannot deny the weird 60s style, I would
Mhm.
say.
I
Like it
thought
feels
I thought it was 80s. Was it 60s?
Well, I think a mix, because especially that little voice boxing, it reminded me of Charlie's Angels. That was a thing like in the 70s and
Oh.
early
yeah,
80s.
that's what it reminded me of too, the Charlie's Angels box. And then they had like these really
Cubicles
weird.
and stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
80s Commodore 64 or something, or Apple computer, those ones.
Yeah, they had a weird style of 60s, 70s, and 80s, as you say, because I think like the cubicle style was like very 70s,
Yeah.
and like the areas that were around, and then like you said, like the technology seemed almost like 80s and then mixed with 60s. Like it's very strange and cool and surreal in that sense.
I think too, it served a purpose because these
Mhm.
are minds, they're essentially trapped in this place, and
Yes.
having that sort of retro minimalist aesthetic probably
Mhm.
helped calm them down and help them to adjust and fit into this world that they only experience. This is their everyday.
Yeah, sure.
Well, and
Yeah.
that's the mysterious thing about it, right, Jane? Because when we see him walk into the office,
Mhm.
like from the outside, you can see how many cars there are there. Like you can
Right.
see how many people are actually inside this building and how many people you assume are on the severed floor. Because obviously not all of them are going to be on the severed floor, but
Mhm.
quite a few number of them would be on the severed floor. The severed floor is in itself a freaking maze. So in that sense, like that's what the other thing was about it that really threw me off, because I was like, is this some sort of other dimension thing? Because when he starts to walk the hallways in like the different like right, left, straight,
Yeah.
right, left, like there's no cohesion to what's going on this floor. So I almost felt like, is this kind of some sort of like space continuum thing? Like I couldn't really figure it out. I still really can't, because some of the stuff doesn't really make sense. Because if you're thinking about like the floor in itself, like
Mhm.
just being a floor, it wasn't just a floor. There was way too many
Mhm.
turns and weird places. And I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it would just be a regular floor where these people are just spaced out.
Well, they are underground though, I think. They go down when they go in the elevator, so it could be incredibly huge.
Ah.
Yeah.
It's not, yeah, you're right, because it's not like a building.
Could
You're
just be
right, because
tunnels.
they go into the basement, so
Yeah.
it could be like a whole other, like, it's not just a
City
floor.
almost.
It's like, yeah, it
Yeah.
could be a whole different
We
city or
learned
something.
too that one of the workers discovered a place where people might be living, so it could be an entire underground world, like city or something down there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten to that part yet. But
It's
that's
Yeah.
the interesting
crazy.
part about this, though, is that so you have the 4 of them, well, it used to be the 4, originally working in this in this giant office, I mean, just for the 4 of them. So it automatically makes you think like, what is going on with this building and why are they so spaced out? Because usually
Yeah.
like corporations want to like, um, you know, just stick everyone together,
Yeah.
utilize the space as much as possible. They're not like, oh, let's just split everybody apart. It seemed
Mhm.
really weird. in
But it
that
is
sense.
secret. They're told that they're working on a secret project, so but they don't know it's very weird too when we
Yeah.
start talking about that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it was like what, and the whole twist and turn things where you seemed like you weren't really going anywhere as well, or you'd randomly show up at places. I think that increased the feeling of being in a living nightmare as well. That was another
Yeah.
Mhm. It
aspect to it.
totally reminded me of that Got Milk commercial where, like, the guy's, like, eating a bunch of cookies, and he's in this white room, and then he realizes, like, he wants milk, and he goes to the fridge, and he takes out the fridge, like, to get the milk, 'cause there's all these
Mhm.
cartons of milk, but then it's all empty, and he's like, "Where am I?" Um,
You know what else I
this
loved
is
about
exactly
this?
what it was. Hmm?
What else I loved about this? The setup where they have all of the aspects of working in a real office, like the supply room where they go and meet. I'm like, "What do you need the supplies for? You're not printing anything."
Yeah.
We're just there for the feeling.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And
there's,
the
like, stuff there for just randomly, like, there's, like, a copy machine in the corner, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
uh-huh.
"Who's copying anything?" They have, like, this weird code thing that they're doing, like, who's printing shit off the computers? Nobody.
Mhm.
They don't even have access to the internet. Like,
No.
it's not like, it's not even anything. It's just it makes absolutely no sense. Some of this stuff was really weird. 200 Watt Studios this year says cubicles look good for COVID spacing.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't think they cared about any of that.
yeah.
I love how this guy too was so committed, like, to being the best.
Oh my god, his whole
He
thing
won his
was so
reward.
funny. Yeah,
Mhm.
like the whole like, I would be fucking bitter too if I didn't have like a finger trap already. Like I was like, "Oh my god, like
Uh-huh.
this whole guy, he's just that's his entire characteristic right now is like how committed he is to it." Um
And you
yeah,
know
they
people like that in the office.
Yeah, and how he
I
got so
do.
excited over the egg buffet or something. Remember they got the boiled egg buffet or something,
Yeah.
which
Yeah.
Great.
it's like people envy this or people try for
It was
years
like
to get the
the egg
buffet.
cart is really coveted around here.
That's it. Yes.
I was like, "Wow."
Those deviled eggs look good.
Oh, I know they did, didn't they?
That house was really weird too, like,
Oh, that was
when they
weird.
finally took her to the house, and then
Yeah.
she would like that like, they had created the corporate, like, dude's actual, like, house, I guess, that he
Yeah.
grew up in, um, which I guess, spoiler alert, is also that girl's house, I'm guessing? Or is that the is
I think it
was
was
the
like
house the original CEO's house?
I think it was the original CEO's house and probably like a to operate as a museum of sorts
Yeah.
to instill respect and
Um
awe for the
Oh
company.
gosh. Again, once again, I'm getting the creeps because I'm relating too much to this.
Someone so what says love it, never seen it. Oh, dude, this is gonna be a spoiler conversation. You should definitely go check out the show. You don't want it to be spoiled. It's something very it's something. Let's just say that. It's definitely something. So don't come back and watch this later after you watch the show. I mean, obviously I'd love for you to be here, but I'm trying to do you a favor and, you know, keep your experience pure because that's kind of how I went into it. I went into it knowing absolutely nothing. I didn't even watch a trailer, and
Yeah.
that was fun. Like not
Yeah.
knowing anything. I think the not knowing aspect was even more fun. Like having not even watched a trailer. Like I went
Mhm.
in there going like I have no freaking clue, and just being led by all the threads and just it was a ride. It was cool.
It was
Mhm.
great.
Let me see here. Okay, so this chick, she's getting hired. The chick on the table, she was getting hired because somebody in their office had quote unquote quit or
Yeah.
was no longer with the company. We don't know why. We're just told by this kind of like Karen lady that
Yeah.
is the boss the person that they worked with was no longer with the company. It seemed very mysterious because the guy was kind of shocked about it. The man that was no longer with the company's name is PD and was this guy's best friend in the company. He's very upset about it. He's like, "Well, what happened?" Nobody's telling him anything. So it just it becomes even more mysterious. And then
Mhm.
as it happens, he takes over his friend's job. And what's his job? apparently the voice in that machine that we heard.
Mm-hmm.
And asking her these questions. So we finally they tie that thread together, and so we find out that he was the voice, and what is he doing? We don't really know, but we find out that it's her orientation. And my theory, I was kind of like vindicated, because I was like, oh, she like it was like a self thing that she did to herself. So I was like, ooh, like I want to know what this is about. And so the journey starts.
And it was so clever too how they showed us her experience from his perspective.
Mhm.
And you get to see sort of the both sides of what's happening to someone when they enter into this world.
Yeah, and I found it really interesting how, I mean, throughout all of it, how she is so hateful of being there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she actually, like, despises it in comparison to, like, all the other people. And I found her interesting because we kind of get the feeling of, like, why the other people are there, like, at the
Mhm.
beginning, especially him. Like, we
Yeah.
we kind of get why he's there. We don't really get why the gay dude is there and why the other guy's there all that much just yet. But we definitely don't get why she's there, like, at all, until the very end.
And I
I
think
think
the ending
sorry, go ahead.
also no, I was just gonna say the ending also sorts of explains, so it ties so many loose ends with regard to who they are and the personalities that are sort of trapped in this box. With her being who she is, who we find out that she is, and her position in this company, it led me to believe that that's why she was so resistant. Like her
Yes.
internal self really
Yes.
doesn't like this program or whatever this
Mhm.
thing is that they're doing.
Yeah.
And it's just being reflected in this side of her that's trapped in here.
Yes. The thing about this series that worries me is that there's like, I really like this series a lot, but there's certain things that really worry me, because I feel like it has a little bit of a lost effect to it, in a
Mm.
sense that, like, I feel like I wonder if we'll get some of the answers that we want to get, or like we're waiting for, because it almost feels like they don't know what the hell they're doing, and they're just like throwing ideas out there, and then let's, like, I don't know if they're going to come back to some of it or not.
I don't think
Um
as
Oh.
long as they don't keep it like I don't think it needs a supernatural element to it. Like what they've established so far is basic corporate technology that's being
Yeah.
abused, and there are
yeah.
moral consequences. Like you could leave it at that and it would be fine. They don't I don't like that there is this sort of religious element to it, and there's
Right.
hint at
Oh.
something supernatural. I don't want that to be the case. Like
That's where I was
Oh.
getting at, Jane, because that whole thing with the Karen lady, like, praying at that corporate CEO guy's, like,
yeah.
shrine, and like that, I don't understand how some of that stuff kind of relates, unless she's just batshit crazy and she's just,
Mhm.
you know, I don't know. Teresa, what do you think?
Yeah, I was about ready to say I never got the vibe that there was actually something supernatural going on. I thought it was a part of the symbolism of the worship of the whatever, the corporate, the something, and that I think all of them are batshit crazy. But by the last episode, I was, and not in a mean way. It's like obviously these people have been driven
Yeah.
insane by, as what's her name said right before she got re-chipped back or something. They're being tortured,
Yeah.
psychologically tortured.
Well, but I think it didn't necessarily start out that way because in Mark's case, we know that he's trying to escape something. Like he
Yes.
is trying to escape the pain of what he went through with his wife. And so that is a source of, I don't know, relief or
I was
reprieve
hope
for him.
Exactly, Jane, but I was hoping that they would kind of give us the reason why the other two were there, because
That's where I think I have a clue. I think I have a theory.
Oh,
okay, tell me.
a Jane
Okay.
theory.
A
Jane
chain
theory.
theory.
Oh, all right.
So in the case,
Hold on. Let me okay, you tell your theory, because I'm gonna try and find a picture of them.
okay, I can't remember the name of the big guy. Well,
Dylan.
we were just Dylan. Okay, so Dylan, when he was, he mentioned hearing a baby's voice when he was in the
Yes.
break room. And we
Yes.
saw him when he was awakened with one child, right?
Yes.
So I'm thinking maybe he lost a child, a baby, and that's why
Oh.
he's there to escape that.
He's because
Oh.
that guy told him you have 2 others.
Mhm.
Do you think it's possible that the baby he saw was the dead one? No, that can't be. That
No,
can't
that
be
was
right because that would make it surreal or
right.
not surreal. I mean, like otherworldly, and that I don't think that's what happened.
I think that, in fact, as you say that, I think maybe the other 2 aren't alive.
Maybe the other 2 died.
Yeah, because that's something that
Mm.
would definitely cause you to maybe wanna sever yourself from those feelings for 8 hours a day.
Right. Yeah, because we're talking about this guy right now, if anybody's confused.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
like, because later on we find out that he has a kid, and then he really wants to see his son. Um,
Yeah.
what about this guy, Jane?
So, this guy was a little bit more of a challenge, even at the end where we see, something happening, breaking through, I guess, of his 2 personalities.
Mhm.
I think maybe he went in as a spy, as
Oh.
part of this group that's on the outside trying to figure out what's going on with Lumen and trying to end Severance. Maybe he voluntarily went in order to figure out what was going on, and also outside, he's participating in this deseverance program, and something broke in him,
Huh.
which is why we saw him painting things on the outside that are happening on the inside.
Yeah, because his whole channeling that aspect was interesting, and he was channeling somewhere he actually hadn't been, because we
Yeah,
didn't see him go there. We only saw Casey go there.
he may have gone
Um,
in the past. Maybe that's what broke him, that experience. And then being
maybe.
former military, he probably thinks he's prepared to handle whatever's happening on the inside.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Explain something to me, you guys, because I had a problem with his final character arc, actually,
Mhm.
because I couldn't understand what the hell was going on when he got clicked on or whatever, like on his normal self. Because what happened was with the other people, like it was pretty clear, like what was going
Mhm.
on. But with him, he's in his house. He wakes up. He's looking at the paintings. Hold on, let me bring it up. Sorry, you guys. We're like kind of like jumping back and forth
Yeah.
between like the first episode and the last episode. But I really have to, I really got to figure this part out because I was like, what? Um,
So good.
yeah. So
There's
like,
a lot I didn't understand.
yeah, because okay, so we see him. He's like he's painting this weird
Yeah.
thing, which is kind of like what he saw. By the way, that was interesting to me is that whenever he would pass out or fall asleep, which they're not allowed to do apparently in
Right.
that
Mhm.
world, because when you sleep, you go to REM, right? And REM takes you to another level of consciousness.
Yeah.
And so in REM, he was able to kind of connect with his own world stuff and seeing the oil painting, right? Because at first I was like, what the fuck is this? And I thought it's going to have something to do with what they're doing with the code. But what it was that it was all about him and his own world.
Mhm.
And like, the fact that he was a painter and he was painting that scene in black.
Oh,
Um, but at first, I thought that was gonna be all about what they're actually decoding or whatever,
Right.
which didn't turn out to be the case at all. But what happens with him is that he goes into like, he's in his own body, and then he's painting that stuff, and then he finds this trunk where he sees like his father's Navy uniform because it says he sees a picture on it. It says dad, and then he finds a map, which this is the part that I was like, "What?" Like, so
Mhm.
he finds this map. The map has the other guy's address on it, which I don't even know how he would relate one thing to the other because it says Bert on it. So he was like,
There's a
"Bert, like."
list. There's a list of, all of the people who've been severed. Like, this is research he's compiled. It's his stash of all of the information his Audi has
Yeah.
gathered on this company. That's why I was thinking he was part of this, I don't know, rebellion that's happening.
yeah.
Oh, that what that was? He was
Yeah.
like,
There's
I'm
also
trying to
a
find
list
the.
of all the employees, and he finds Bert, and then he sees the map, which has the different peoples where they live. And so he decides he wants to go
Oh.
see Bert, because
Oh.
what
Did
happened.
you have to go and rewatch that? Because I feel like I need to go rewatch it and like
I
pause it
rewatched
on
every
certain
episode.
scenes.
I don't care
Oh.
how many times.
Okay, well, no
Um,
wonder because my brain is still exploding because I didn't understand a word of any of that stuff at
I
the.
think that's the list there.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
this is the list because it says here like versions and duplicates removed, severed employee list, and so he has like the actual employees. This is severed.
Yeah.
I can't read this
This is why I think
information.
he must have gone on inside with some sort of mission, did something. And maybe that room that he keeps painting
Mm-hmm.
is where he was kept when he got caught.
Ah,
Because that would make it traumatic enough an experience that he would remember it in the real world, I would think.
that's right, Jane. You're cluing in stuff for me that I didn't figure out by myself. Look, it says severed employee list. I just got a nice scene of that. I didn't even think about that. Now,
There's so many layers
find
in this.
out we also find out that the dude's wife that he's been pining over is actually the wellness director
Yes.
for
Yeah, and she's alive.
employee. And she's still alive. So what in the hell do you guys think happened with her?
I don't know. Like, why would they try to fake her death? I mean, apparently that's what they had to do. See, that's where I want to get this season 2 right now so I can get a little more clarification.
I
too.
wonder if she's a copy, like a duplicate or a
Ooh.
clone.
I was
Oh.
thinking the same thing, Jane, because she answers weirdly.
She
And then she
does.
kind of like sounds like a robot. So at first I thought she was an android. I was like, there's no way this girl is like actually real. Either that or she's been so worked on in like the break room or something that she's actually broken. Like you could tell she's very different than the other
Mhm.
ones. And then she starts talking about the fact that she only gets woken for certain periods of the time. And I was like, wait, what? Like, that's kind of like an android thing to
That's
me.
it.
Like, and I was
Oh,
like, maybe
yeah.
she's a clone or an android or something. Like, I don't know what the fuck she is, but she doesn't seem like a real person right
It's
now.
almost like if you make multiple copies, they become less clear. It's like that sort of a thing with her. She's
Ooh.
not a complete human.
No. But she clearly has like some memories or something because she was all like, I was only happy when I was with you, in that room. And when she was like got to hang
Yeah.
out with them for a minute, like, and she
Mhm.
was like, that was that was my favorite time. And I was like, what the hell? Like, wait,
Because the whole rest of her time is in the wellness room. She's only been alive
Yeah.
117 hours, I think she said.
Yeah, and only when she's having her sessions is she like
That's it.
activated awake.
yes. And that's freaky. It's like, what are they doing to these people? Because it's not just, and that's okay. See, that's the thing too, is that they kind of gave a little bit of like clue too, because at first, and I can't find the scene that I'm talking about, but at first they were talking about like how basically what they want to do is mainstream this
Yeah.
Severance, and
They
it's
want
not
everyone to get the tip.
yes. Like,
And
it's
wanna
not
get the
yet, and they
jab
wanna do that. Exactly, they want everyone to get the jab in their brain, and they're
in
like,
their brain.
they're like, and they want well, they're saying that, like, at first, it's like a voluntary thing, but they wanna make it kinda, like, mandatory for everyone to do it, and I guess only certain people have done it now, like, for example,
Mhm.
that elite woman that took the chip, and then she, like, turned herself off when she was giving birth so she can
Right.
forget the pain. So, but
Which is
other people, like,
crazy.
not elite people don't know that people are doing this right now, though, actively, though, because when Mark's sister found that out, she was like, it seemed like she had forgotten that she was there. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
she
They
isn't
only
clued in.
It's only I think everybody now at this point in the story connects it with the workplace. So you're going to work for the company and you do the severance procedure. They don't know that people are trying to use it I guess whenever they want. They're trying to abuse this technology to
Mhm.
allow them to basically create an alternate version of themselves to experience the worst part of life while they continue to experience the best part.
Yeah,
Which is weird.
it is really weird. That part too, when she was like telling like the redhead girl when she was like telling herself like, I make the decisions, you're not a person.
Right?
I was like,
Ugh.
dude, that's so crazy.
Oh, that was sick.
Oh, and
And
when
the
he
whole
told her, if
time,
you try to kill yourself again or you do something to my fingers, I will make sure you stay alive in the worst possible way or something weird like that.
yeah,
I was
like
like,
long enough for you to regret it or something. I was like,
that's what she
damn.
said.
What's
Oh,
funny though, is that was my immediate reaction too, is like what she did. Like I was like, when I found that out, like when I was like, okay, I'm here. Uh like this is the apparently this is the world I'm gonna be in now. I'm gonna kill myself. Like that's what I was like. I would kill myself. I'd be like, nah, like I'm good. And if that lady, like the outside version of me, wants to f around and stick me in here, well, like she's got another thing coming because I'd rather kamikaze this shit. Like I'd be like, I'm taking out both of us. Like if I gotta live in this prison, you come with me. I'd rather die. Like so like when she tried to hang herself, I was like, good girl. Like that's what I would do too. Like F you,
but here's the thing though. I feel like it
I'm
wasn't
extreme.
that bad a place.
Oh my gosh.
What? It was a freaking nightmare,
All they had to
dude.
do was sit at the computer, do their work, and
Oh
then
my
get their rewards, their egg bar, and their fruit. The fruit looked great.
Yeah.
It was
Jane,
delicious.
what if you're killing babies with that code? Like you
That
don't
is the
even know what you're
They
doing.
don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. But here's the other thing though, Jane. But even if you were seeming to be on board, they would like put you for re-education or re-wellnessing if your eyes didn't look happy enough. Or remember
Yeah.
they said to that one guy, it's like, can you make yourself look kind? Can you this? And then all of a sudden they're like, well, maybe you need to spend some time over here. So even if you were doing everything, they would find something wrong with you it, if you just weren't seeming to be perfect the whole time. And they did that kind of brainwashing.
Yeah, that's
It
true.
was definitely brainwashing and it was freaking creepy. I
Yeah.
was like, ooh. 200 Watt Studios for 2. Thank you. Says the red hair girl gets fired and replaced by a black girl.
Oh no.
Um,
And she wouldn't even
no.
be a ginger.
Well, she's like the head of the company, so I don't know if she's gonna get replaced anytime soon. But that would be funny though.
They do have that other girl though, who's the voice of the board. She
Oh
was
yeah,
really,
yeah,
really
yeah.
good.
Yeah. They've got the voice of the board. Yeah.
That whole
God,
dynamic is a whole other weird thing.
that
What is the board? And
exactly.
see, I don't want the board to be like aliens or something weird, you know?
I was thinking the board's gonna be AI immediately. I was like, this is gonna be some AI shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's just so weird though. Like some of the stuff in it is really strange. Like who the f- is like this whole family, like the Egan family, and then they follow this other guy, Kier or whatever. Like and it's based on his teaching. There was a lot of stuff that had to do. It kind of reminded me of Scientology, like and how Scientology because they have a book like
Yeah.
Scientologists have a book and they have like their whole thing and it was really similar in that sense to those people I think and the fact that like that lady like the main Karen lady had taken it like way too far and she was like I'm gonna like have this shrine to this guy and like
Yeah.
she was like praying to it and it was just really bizarre so like I don't think that those kind of things is expected of anyone else like I don't know if like for example that black guy does that when he goes home like I'm they didn't really show that part but
Yeah.
I just don't think that that's the kind of person he is like I don't think that he's going around doing that what do you think Teresa do you think he's I think do you think he's like as indoctrinated as the other girl
That's what I'm just not sure of because we never get to see them on the outside, do we?
No. Well, other than the Karen lady,
Yeah, the Karen
we don't
lady, but yeah, not the other dude though. As
no,
far
we
as
never see him on the outside. We see the other guy, um, he gets killed, Mr.
yeah,
Grainier or whatever, but we never see the black dude.
yeah,
Well, we do
I'm
see
trying
him
to
when he wakes up Dylan. He's super aggressive.
Ah,
everybody
yes,
Google.
you're right. But Jane, you were away for a second. I was asking, do you think the black dude is like as crazy as as the Karen lady? Like, do you think like he has a shrine to that guy too? Because it felt
Well,
like that was that chick's
I
thing.
wonder. Okay, so we also saw when she knocked over her table, there were things like a
Yes.
breathing tube and some other things. I wonder if she lost someone as well. That seems to be a pattern. And
Oh.
maybe she's thinking that the work she's doing will bring that person back, maybe, or something along those lines. And so it became really religious for her and almost supernatural for her.
Well, that's the thing that I kind of didn't understand about her at all, was that I felt like she was weird to me because I felt like she was way too invested into Mark. Like I was like, it was almost weird the way she was invested into Mark. Like she was living next door to him, and then she
Yeah.
decided to go and like stalk him at his sister's house. And the board didn't even know that like,
Mhm.
she was like, they were like, wait, you went to our sister's house, you're fired. Like, they didn't even know that that's what she was doing. So it just felt
Yeah,
Mm.
sneaking into
really
his house.
strange, like that
Um,
he that she was doing that stuff. That was all her. That wasn't like the board.
it may be based on more information we just haven't received yet, but I think she was invested in him personally too much, but she was also invested in his success of this department. It seemed like she snapped because she really has something at stake that we haven't been shown yet. And so when she lost her job, she perhaps lost out on getting that thing that she values so much that we don't yet know what it is.
Yeah, and,
Oh.
the other thing that was a little bit closer to that to me is how she observes Mark and Casey
Mhm.
together, and how it's almost like maybe Casey's like her project or something.
Yeah.
And then before we know that Casey is his wife, like in the previous episode, we see that scene where uh she's like hanging out with them at the office,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then the black guy's kind of concerned, like, are you sure this is a good idea? Like,
Mhm.
and she's like, yeah, I'm trying something new with Casey. And I was like, what does that mean? Like, I was kind of like, because at first I was thinking like, okay, so this Casey chick may be a corporate person like them, and then she's just pretending to be like severed and like blah blah blah. And then I realized, well, if that's the wife, then maybe she is controlling her,
Hmm.
and that's why she's so invested. It seems like she's just so, I don't know.
Yeah.
It seems like she had a way more bigger obsession with Mark than any other one.
And I
Like,
think you're right too, because when she was watching this scene, it's almost like she wanted one or the other to remember.
yes.
Hmm.
And when he told her that he's quitting
Mhm.
in real life, she was like, "Yeah, you should quit.
Yeah.
They hate, like, don't get away from that place." And it was just so weird to me because at first, like, all this stuff like kept running in my brain, and I was like, "Wait, is she like his mom?" And then I was like, "No, that's not his mom, because then the sister would remember him because it would be related. They
Yeah.
can't be, like, unless they're adopted." Like, I don't know. Like, it just felt, there was so many questions. I was like, why is she so invested in him? Because the whole time, even when we were talking about like with Petey, right? Because Petey is the one that started questioning everything, right?
Mhm.
And then ended up quitting, right?
What?
So like you would think that if Petey is the one that ended up questioning everything, that she would go live next to his house, like to figure out what's going on. Like if you want to like put these people under surveillance to make sure that they're not remembering their time at work or
But
whatever.
you know what's interesting that you mentioned that the sister, she lives in this subdivision, right?
No, she lives somewhere else because they don't like that company. Like her
Oh,
husband doesn't
Yeah.
like that company. They lived like off grounds.
Yeah.
okay.
She was just in that weird place, like the log cabins where everyone has babies.
Because I
Yeah.
know her brother, I mean, not her brother, her husband is really weird too in how he talks, but he could just be weird.
I think it was just a weird character.
Well,
Like he
and
was
all
one of
the
those like,
guests too, like their friends and stuff were really weird. It almost makes me feel like they're all employees or former employees, and maybe some of them they don't remember
that's
because they're just
interesting.
bizarre. Like the guy who quote unquote found the baby, but he didn't find the baby. it was just
Yeah, that
Wait,
was
which
he wasn't
one?
fully human either.
at
The
the
guy
end.
who found the baby.
At the party.
Yeah, the chick who stole the baby. That
Yeah,
was the other.
that black guy, because he
Yeah.
was the one in the first episode that was pressing him on what it was like and to be working in that
Yeah.
company, and like, and he was like, it's kind of like being he was about to say being a slave, but he didn't say it. Like, but he's the one that was like pressing him. It's like, is it like this, Mark? Like, and I was like, why is this guy so weird? The other ones just seemed dumb, but this guy, like
But
that
the
guy
lady
definitely seemed sus. I was like,
the
I don't know about this
lady
guy.
at the party he was reading off of her book,
Mhm.
she was really weird. Like, I
Oh
just don't
yeah.
think it's a coincidence these people are so off.
She seemed like she was a little crazy. Now, help me out. What happened with the book? Like when his brother-in-law in the book, and he
Oh,
was like,
oh
I
my
mean,
god, that was so funny to me that he was like waking up because of his brother-in-law's weird new age book that we would
yeah.
in reality think is fucking retarded.
Okay. So that, because I was wondering if there was something I was missing. Like, was there more to that, or
No, it was
okay,
just like
okay.
his brother-in-law's like new age book that he had like written for like, his way of dealing with like, hardships and whatever, like just like, some random shit that came out of his mouth and his
I
head.
want
Okay.
that book. I want that book so bad.
Yeah, well, probably. Did he self-publish it? He probably did. Yeah.
Who knows? But it was hilarious though. And then like they find it and they're like, Mark, it's got your name in it. Maybe it's a message from Petey. I was like,
Okay. All right. So
and it
I
just
was
turns out
wondering
to
if
be this
I.
dude's book. Oh
But
my
it
god.
gave them strength, like, to go
It
forward.
did, and it was so stupid though because it was like it's like the stupidest book ever written, and like they're like, "Oh, this is like gospel," like
Oh my
like,
god,
"Oh
and
my
how they read
god."
each line with the music in the background made it
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh. Okay. All right. So I'm getting it. All right. But maybe that's a commentary on us then, and the things that we.
Well, it was no, that it's an interesting thing that they showed, Teresa. You're right, and it is a commentary, because I think like what it's showing is that if you have one source of knowledge that you're like, you adhere to, like I think this is where they're kind of going into like the metaphorical thing about religion or anything, like any sort of ideology that you ascribe to. If you hold that to be the highest tier of anything and you don't, you don't open yourself up to other ideas. I think that that's what it was saying, that once there is another idea that kind of like counterbalances that idea, that becomes something that you know what I'm saying? Like it's
Yeah.
like being thirsty for knowledge, like when you don't have anything else. It's like any like whatever else it is, even if it's like the shittiest thing, will be like,
Yeah.
oh, like it's coveted. You're like, oh, like I want to know because this is so different.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Almost like
Um
the forbidden fruit, maybe.
Right.
exactly. Exactly.
Okay. All right. I got it there.
Yeah, I think I
And
think
there are
it was
so
a
many
symbol.
themes like that in the show now that you mention it. Because of whether it's the book that sort of becomes the word for them,
Mhm.
Mhm.
or the goats that they found later that you also
Oh,
see
yeah.
sort of repeated throughout, which maybe has an evil connotation, but maybe not.
What the was up with the goats? Like, I was
That's
like,
a
"I
good
don't
point.
get this. I need to know." This is the kind of stuff that I was like, "I don't know about this." Like, for example, the goat room. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know if in season 2 they're going to answer this kind of question. Like, what the fuck was up with the goats? Like, these are the things that I'm like, is this like, are they just like throwing stuff out here that like they're never gonna
No.
come back to?
I
Because
don't think they
that's how it felt.
will. Because when they came in, remember the guy was like, "It's too soon. It's too soon."
Yeah.
Like, there's something to that. I think we're gonna get something to explain
Okay. So
what.
they're not going to
I mean, I
lock
hope
us.
so.
They're not going to mystery box us to death.
That's what I keep like, I fear that. I fear that they're putting in like a lot of mystery boxes and we're gonna be like, "Well, what was that about again?" Nope, they're never gonna talk about this again. Oh, okay.
That's because
Um
we've had to deal with so much crap up until now.
Yeah, I was about to say. Well,
PTSD.
we do. We all have PTSD.
I
It's
actually thought it
hilarious.
was going to mean something, and I wasted 8 years of my life.
This better not be 8 fucking years. I'll tell you that right now. Like, I'm not gonna invest in this for 8 years.
Not after Game
Um,
of Thrones.
there was another part that I thought was really kind of, again, a little bit like hitting the religious note for me, was the part where it was this scene where the dude is he went to
Yeah.
where the guy's picture is, like the dude's picture,
Mhm.
and it had like the written word there. And then he like kind of like he put his egg in it and then he shut the book. Like this dude, this is the leader of the company, the main CEO, well, the original one.
Yeah.
That's what they're like the thing was, and he put the egg in there and he like shut the book.
Mhm.
And I thought that was like I thought that was a little bit of a slight to, I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but I thought this was a little bit of a slight to the idea that like being gay is like frowned upon in the Bible. And in
Wow.
this, they kind of
Oh.
like, associated that with like gayness because it was like, they were saying like you can't fall in love like in this company and he realized that he was gay and he wanted to be in love with that man, but they sent him away. So he like, he finally like shut the book and was like, you know what, egg on your face, like fuck you to this book. And like the fact that it's telling me I can't love. I don't
That's
know.
interesting. I didn't get that. I sort of thought more as this is a guy who had been the most faithful
Yes.
to this company and to this word. He could read it like he knew it verbatim.
Yes, he
Yeah.
did.
The
From
handbook.
memory. And for him shutting that the way he did, I felt like it was him saying, "Okay, I'm all in with this plan to bring you down because you took my love away from me."
Mhm.
Not
Yes.
and I didn't see it more specifically to gay people. I thought it was just you can't have love in this company. You have to be completely and fully loyal to the company and not to anyone else. If you create these attachments, one of you has to go.
Yeah. Well, because especially when they showed on the outside when Christopher Walken had a lover or husband, I'm not sure.
Mhm.
It was showing that it was normal. Like there wasn't anything particular about being gay, but yeah, it was just attachments. And I'm sure if they had have felt that herself, redhead chick, and the other dude were falling in love, it would have been a similar thing. I
Would
saw
it
like
though?
Jane.
Would it because of who she is and that she has to be there? And clearly they have some sort of plan with Mark. Like, I don't know what the plan is with Mark, but that's why he's being so, I don't know, like
And-
looked
and
But they
I-
would have
into.
shut that down if they'd have seen them smooching like that. That's the kind of stuff that they would have shut down.
But the other thing too is that that's
Mm,
in one department versus this, which was cross department and was starting to create a problem because now he was going over there and
that's
those people are
true.
being awakened to the truth and it could just been they could have,
Ooh.
gotten together and conspired to find other branches of the company and who knows what would have happened. Had
That's
it,
true.
it
And they're really, and that was one of the keys too, is that they were really against cross compartment, like what
Yeah, they
compartment?
didn't want them sharing.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
didn't want them to get together to a point where they had like these rumors of like them going crazy and killing each other. And I mean, I thought that part was really funny when Christopher Walken was in that room and he was like, "Yeah, they tell us you have pouches and I think it's kind of a joke, but like, it's got a bad scene to it. Like nobody wants to be around that." Like, I was just like,
Yeah.
that is so funny the way like, rumors are spread and that it has like there is no basis of reality to the rumor. We know that it's like
Yeah.
so fake, but at the same time, it does like, alter your perception of what you're hearing the rumor about. So again, office politics, like in that
Yeah.
sense, like it was
Well,
very
but
on.
he did Devin, what was his name? Dylan did find those weird cards showing fighting styles or something. Remember that's what
Oh
we saw.
yes.
Oh man.
What
See,
the
I need to
heck was
rewatch
that
this.
about? Like again, that was another mystery box that I was like, wait, what? Like, why do they care so much? Because that guy cared so much. The black guy cared so
Mhm.
much that guy stole that card. That's why he hacked him
Yeah.
in real life. That card, like, couldn't have left like that department. Like, it was like no fucking way, to a point where he had to go and unlock him or
Yes.
whatever. Like that was a big deal.
And the other thing too that I wonder if it was a true story was the department when they first come in and meet the other department. One of them mentions that the week before they had been working on weapons. I forget what the weapon was, but they had
Yes.
been working on a weapon, and they told her, shh, so she can't continue to talk about it.
Oh,
But
damn. I don't know that at all.
yes,
That's weird.
it's crazy.
You know what else was really creepy? That part where that dude went into that house and then those weirdos showed up and started dancing for him. I was like, what the actual is happening right
Yeah.
now?
Yeah. It was like, is it those magic mushrooms I accidentally ate again? What's going on?
There was
I was
also
like,
a whip on the bed. I'm like, what is about to happen with this show?
yeah, like that's I was like too. I was like, is this like what the is going on? Like, because it seemed really out of character. And it was like, I was like, damn, no wonder these guys really want to win that quarter because I guess this is this is the only way they get like sexual activity. And it's really weird
I think it is.
because otherwise, because they're not allowed to, bone each other. So they're like, okay, so you win the quarter and you get to do some kinky-ish with these weird people who are wearing really weird masks. I was like, what is going on?
It was
You
so
get
creepy.
your waffles and you get your choice.
Oh, yeah. Oh, gosh. No.
Dude, one of them was wearing
Can't see
that
their
amaranth
faces.
shit. Like, I was like, what? Like, it's wearing like an amaranth, like, well, not a horse mask,
a
but it was
goat
wearing like a
mask, I
fucking
think.
goat mask.
It was
Um,
messed up.
and I don't know who this one was. Okay, hold on. Like, I'm actually like on that scene, but I'm trying to pause it on a scene where it like doesn't get like
Oh, no. My
hang on.
eyes.
By the
Where's
way,
the
that chick's
bleach?
car too, like the the Karen lady,
Mhm.
her car was like the shittiest car I've ever seen in my life. And I was like, "What does this lady not get enough money to like drive a better car?" Like it just seems so random that she was driving this like really shitty.
Well, maybe so. Maybe
Well, she's in disguise, I think. Her
I think it
character is
was her
supposed to be
disguise.
like
I think it was her disguise car.
a weird old lady next door.
The funniest shit was when that guy showed up at her door and was like, "What are you wearing?" Okay, I finally was able to pause it on this weird ass scene. Okay, hold on. So this is the scene. I was like, "What is that? Like, who the f is this?" Like,
gosh.
I didn't even know who this was. I was like, "Who
Yeah,
are
this was
you?"
so scary. This
It
is
was so
creepy as
weird.
This was weird. This was a weird scene. And you know what's weird is I didn't even notice the whip until right now. Like as we were talking about it. I was like, wait, what? And there is a whip, and there's stuff
I
written
watched
on
this
the
show
whip.
way too many times. Just
There's
It's
stuff written on the whip.
it's not a party till you bring out the whip.
Oh my god.
the virtues or whatever.
Okay, let me ask you this. Were you expecting the Karen lady to get fired? Because I wasn't.
No, I thought for sure she was solid, like upper management or whatever.
I was
But
wondering though because
the board didn't like every time they met with her, they seemed annoyed. So it was always a possibility, but I just didn't think she would be fired.
yeah. Well, see, that's what I was about ready to say. There, Jane is. It, it seemed like she was always. They were always shining the right white light in her eye when they had the scene where she was meeting with that one chick and the little Charlie's Angels box was there, and the other chick was like, "I think the board wants you to say something," and she looked very
Mm.
unsure, and she was kind of like, "Hello." So I felt like she was always on their crap list.
So
Yeah.
get this. The whip's names are the departments. Because
Ah,
you got wellness here, I think. Does it say wellness?
Oh, well,
No,
then
it
that's
says
fierce symbolic, isn't
Willis.
it?
It says Willis probity, humility. This is vision. Okay, no, it's not the departments. I think it's the 9 thingies, right? Let's see.
okay,
1, 2,
yeah, I
3,
thought so.
4,
I
Like their
thought
5,
it was
company
6,
like
7,
that.
motto.
8, 9. Yeah. I think it's the 9 mottos of the company. Or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah. See, and that's also where it's creepy. I don't know if this has happened in your places of work where you're actually expected to memorize the mission of.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, so that's the thing. It's not just in mine. Yeah. And it's like
No.
everyone should memorize it. And if you haven't, why not? I think you should
And
memorize it. It's good to show that you know that you have our values. I mean, that's
you're a
like
team
real life
player.
crap, and it's creepy.
You're part of the family corporate.
Yes, you gotta show
9
the wall of it
circles of
together.
hell. You are
Team.
right. So what? So what?
Wow.
Ooh, very
It's-
good call.
That's
Good.
yes. I think you are totally hitting the nail on the head there because there's a lot of metaphors going on in this show, and I think that that's what it was. Oh, this show is just there's a lot. There's a lot.
It's like an onion. You just pull back all the layers.
It better be fucking like this though, because I swear to God, if we don't get an explanation for the goddamn goat room, I'm gonna be pissed. Like I don't understand. Like
We want
what?
goats.
Okay,
Well, someone,
that
they
means
joked
to
about the eggs
understand what they're
dropping the
even doing. Like we don't
Or the
even
code
know
eggs.
what the code thingy is. Like we have no idea. Why does it? Okay, this is the kind of
Indoctrination.
well, see, that's the thing, Jane. This is the kind of stuff that kind of takes it to that next level of are they doing paranormal stuff with it? Because the idea that the code could incite fear in you and an uneasy feeling, and they're getting them to like
Mm-hmm.
take these codes and put it in these different things. That's the I don't get that because unless they're doing something really evil, why would the code represent emotional feelings? Like
I think
I
it's-
don't
Oh,
I
good
think
I
it's
don't
a form of
understand how that would work.
I think it's a form of technology, and this is where it goes into with the other girl possibly being a clone, and why it seems like people who've been through this experience aren't fully human. Maybe there's something happening, but basically, what I think is that they're sorting emotions, and maybe they're sorting them in actual beings somehow.
Oh,
That's really interesting, Jane. Eternal Dormant. No, this is an Apple TV Plus show. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, expand on that, Jane.
Well, like they don't know what they're doing, but
No.
these things have emotions. You can make you feel there's some of them are happy numbers, some of them
Yes.
are they make you have like sort of an anxiety, some make you angry. And it's like,
Yes.
what if they're trying to understand the human brain so that it can help the technology to replicate human beings and or
I was
exercise better
thinking that
control on that
too.
over
I was
them.
thinking that too, but then there was other things that made no sense. Like for example, what was up with the mouth of smiles? Like there was just certain things about it that I was like, excuse me, like what the
Yeah,
is
the
that?
room with all the smiles.
Yeah,
I didn't
like
get
I was
that.
like, what the was
have no idea what
there's
that was.
No, but it makes sense. Like, yeah, like they're trying to create a new AI and all.
Well, they're saying that these were people who they helped, but helped how?
helped how? Yeah, because
Yeah.
that's why I think one of the guys that came in was like, "What are we, a dental company? Like, is this a denture company or something like that?" It's like no, like I don't get. I agree with you though, Jane, because that's where my theory also went is that they're trying to understand the technology so that they can manipulate people more. However, having said that, I can also see it being something more nightmarish than that, like you know especially the fear ones like maybe it is actually killing people, like they don't know, like they don't know what they do. There's so much moral ambiguity there about what actually goes on at this company. So I don't
yeah.
know.
Holy crap. I was thinking of another way that might mirror our real lives about random things to manipulate us. I won't get more specific than that because I don't. I don't want the big AI to come down and shut down your channel. But isn't that interesting? I'm like, wait a second. I'm familiar with this. I think I've lived through this.
What Boosh McFadden says here is true. This is an Apple TV Plus show. I just happened to get it from Apple TV Plus. That's all.
Yeah.
We can carry on the conversation.
I was like, oh yeah, the disclaimer. But no, but I mean, but those theories that we've actually been experiencing a worldwide simulation. Then I was seeing that in the show. It's like maybe there's there's more than one reason I'm relating to this.
There was so many reasons I related to it. I was like, oh my God.
It's like help
Um,
us.
Looking back to it, that scene where we see Haley, whatever her name
Helly.
is, for the first time, it
Mhm.
reminded me of being in those conferences where people are just
Oh.
talking and you just want to die or get out, but you can't.
Mhm. Yes.
And they just
Yeah.
keep talking.
Yeah. Well, I'm thankful the good Lord gave me 10 fingers because I may have been guilty of in those long meetings praying rosaries, just pretending just for
I felt a little bad for that the other black girl too that he was dating.
Oh,
I was like,
Oh yeah.
this guy's so messed up. Like this girl like should just run. Like I'd be like, no, like you were way too fucking weird. First of all, if I lived in that world, I would never date a severed person. I'd be like, no.
Really?
Like there's no way I'm dating a severed person. That is like that's so weird. For you to like go to your like exactly what she was saying. She was like, you can go there and have another girlfriend and you wouldn't even remember me. Like you wouldn't remember you have a family. Like, you know, you can go and be like have infidelity or whatever, and like you would have no fucking clue. Like
And I
that
think that
you
may be what some people intend to use it for. I mean, if you think about the different ways you can abuse this technology, we've already seen the one example of the lady making her other person give birth, and
Yes.
she had no reason to remember.
Yeah, and that was pretty interesting. Now, going back to like PD and what happened with him.
Yeah.
So PD figured out something was going on, and he was saying originally, I thought this was a little bit baity, by the way, because at first he was like, you like you figure out like because he was like, oh, I severed myself because I figured out what they were doing down there was really bad. And I was like, oh, so he knows what's going on down
Mhm.
there. And then we finally get to him, and the guy's like, well, what's going on down there? And he's like, I don't know. And I was like, so
Like,
what the
thank
did
you.
you sever yourself for then? Like, because that again, that was the kind of like the baity stuff where I was like, is this like some sort of mystery box that we're never gonna figure out? Because he didn't figure out, and at first they were like, he figured it out, and that's why
He
he
got
left.
as much information as he could, and we see that the other guy also has quite a bit of information, and it's like they're all and once they choose to rebel, I think they get closer and closer to figuring it out. It's just all of them have different bits of information that by the end they'll combine and get an answer.
Well, interestingly, this lady apparently also worked for them.
Mhm.
And she was in the chip department. I don't remember if we saw her putting the chip in like the other chick's brain, even though she said she did. Did we see her do that? I don't know.
We saw the lady getting the procedure in her party or whatever, but I don't think we saw who was giving it to her.
Yeah, because well, they're all wearing medical masks anyway. I
Mhm.
couldn't really tell who it was. But apparently she's the one that puts the chips in the brain. By the way, that scene I felt was a little bit unnecessary, like to show to that extent. Like I was like, okay, like you don't need to show like the cutting of the brain and all that kind of stuff. Like it felt a little bit like, ugh, like I don't know. Was that just me, or did you guys like seeing that? I was like, what?
It didn't
Well,
bother
I
me.
mean, I can't say I liked it. My gosh. I'm not that sick a person.
No, but
Yeah.
some people like that kind of stuff. It's very like
Yeah.
tangible, right? Like you're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay, this chick got a brain and chip implant. Like, like there's no really like, well, maybe she got a brain chip. No, she got a brain chip implant.
Yeah.
You watched it go in there.
Mhm.
Well, and
Yeah.
not only that, by showing that this is a real human being and all that, and a real invasion that they're doing.
Yeah.
Well,
Whether it's
that's
good
the
or
other
not.
thing too, is that like I felt like because we watched the brain chip implant go in, the part with the Karen lady like taking PD's out at the funeral felt a little bit too contrived for me, because I was like, it was a lot more complicated to put it in, and like they had to have like very fine like tools to put the chip in, and like, you know, like the little like whatever, and this shit goes in with a fucking drill, drills the side of his head, and then like goes in there with a thing, all in the span of what, like 5 minutes, and like takes out the freaking brain chip. Like,
But he's
I don't
dead
know,
at that
felt
point.
weird.
So
yeah, you didn't have to
yeah.
worry. You could just dig in.
But the
Well,
thing
I mean,
is, they were lying to them though, because what they were selling to people was that it's no different from getting like a filling. I think what they said, and clearly it's more complicated than that.
Yeah.
mm,
Good point.
wait,
And that
what?
could
It's a
be that
different
could
black
be.
one for the later chips? What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
But anyways, this lady though,
It could be something else that she got out of him too. By the way,
out of Petey?
yeah.
No, out of Petey, she took out the chip because she got threatened by that main guy that the board's not gonna need the chip,
Oh, okay.
and then the body is going to be cremated with the chip inside
Yeah,
after
that's
the
right.
funeral. So she's like, ah, fuck, I gotta get this chip. So that's why she showed up at that funeral.
Yeah, that's right.
So like, but this lady, this is gross. Yeah, there was definitely gross parts, but only very, very briefly. Like you can look away. Like if you don't have strong taste for it, like you can look away for like 5 minutes and it's over. But this lady, so she had some sort of problem with whatever like it is that she found out that they're doing. She was like, you know what? Like I'm not down. So she decided to basically rebel and go against whatever is going on
Mm-hmm.
with her. Am I correct? So then, but she was smart enough to know, she knows the technology, so she knows how to hack the chip. And so I'm guessing she hacked the chip, she turned it off, but for some reason, because she was saying like he didn't listen to me about what you're supposed to
Yeah.
do afterwards, and that's why he was having all these problems.
Mm-hmm.
But like I don't know if that's like a plot thing that they put in there, because you're thinking to yourself, if reintegration is a thing, is Mark going to be able to do it if everybody just dies like the second they get reintegrated, like the way as painfully as like PD did, because that doesn't sound good. You know. So
Yeah.
I'm not really sure, but then she was all like, no, if he had like followed my instructions, he would have been fine. And I'm like, well, why didn't he follow your instructions then? Like it was just so weird.
But I think that's the thing. Is like, what else is going on with him? What was his motivation? Why did he go in the first place? Like, there are questions we don't have answers to yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure he had a good reason for why he didn't do whatever it was he was supposed to.
Tom Leash, is this show good? I'm afraid of all the new shows are woke garbage. Look, I liked it for what it was. The first season, I enjoyed it a lot. I'm really hoping that they're not gonna fall off you know, the planet for season 2, because it can go a lot of different ways. And right now, so far, it's very grounded. It's got amazing cinematography, amazing music. It's not woke at all. I mean, for God's sake, one of the main characters is a ginger woman.
No
and
ginger side.
yeah, you know, there's no ginger side in this. I felt like if we want to look at it like the woke way, though, I will say this: I did find it interesting that they had like, you know, that they had the team, and then they had like the black guy. Like this is just me, like like really looking into it. They had the black guy as like the next head up, like this dude right here. And then they had the white woman that's like the Karen woman, like at the you know, higher than him. And then they had like the white dude is like, you know, the white CEO is like the main problem of it all, and like blah blah blah. So in that sense, I was just like, like of course, like they're gonna have that kind of shit in it. But it would have been more interesting if like they had like the main CEO be, I don't know, like another black dude or something like
But
that.
see,
Then,
the thing is that had become the trope for a while, making the black guy the president sort of thing.
That's
When
true.
in more realistic, I think, would be having the white guy be the head of the company. Because
yeah,
that's typically the case. The white woman who's breaking the glass ceiling, right? So
yeah,
she's at the top.
yeah.
The black guy who's working his way up, he's next. And then the other white guy, I guess, who's next. I mean, it's pretty standard.
It's
Often.
pretty standard. There was another part that made me laugh too. I think that was in which episode was it? Because I want to pull up the scene where they're like taking her to the house. Was that episode 2?
I don't. I watched them all almost together completely, so it all melded.
It all melts in
One
together.
one
Yeah.
kind of wokish, I guess, thing would be, even though it turned around, was his sister and her husband, their relationship, where he's
Right?
kind of dumb and she's the smart one.
Oh.
But his, you know, little did anyone realize his words would actually inspire this little revolution that's happening.
Yeah, that was funny. I thought that was funny. Oh my god, by the way, the other like I just saw this scene while I was trying to find the other scene. That whole fucking wellness thing too. I couldn't help but laugh because it was all very weird and sexual in a way. Because she kept being like, "Your outie likes to party," and I was like,
Ooh.
"What the fuck is this? Like, what is this?" Like, and like he's having like some sort of like reaction to it, like kind of like getting turned on because she was like, "Your outie's great at love making," and he was like, "Oh." And she's like, "Don't respond." And I was like, "What the fuck? What kind of torture shit is this? Like they can't
Dominatrix.
respond to anything. I'll take all your points away if you say anything else." I was like, "What the fuck?" Like just I don't know, like her just over and over being like, "Your outie likes to do this." I was like, "Okay, like this is getting off."
But this also explains why
Real
she's so
weird.
weird, because this is all she does.
Yes.
Yeah, she has
Now
literally has no life.
she literally doesn't, and that's why it was like so funny because when I was hearing her, I was like, why does she sound like a robot? Like I don't understand why she's so androidy. And then they made her the Asian woman too, and I was like, are they saying like the Asian chick is like the android that like I don't know. It does. I don't know. It made no
I
sense to
thought
me.
I thought you were gonna go in the direction of the Asian girl being in the brothel.
Oh my god.
Oh,
God damn it, Jane.
that is.
There's so many
that is
different
a
ways you can look at this.
That's a stereotype they do, don't they?
um
Madam Butterfly.
Oh my god, I just saw this other scene too again because I'm trying to find that other scene where like they're going to the thing, and then I saw this scene where they're like they have that ball game where they're like rolling the ball. I was like, when I saw that scene, I was like, kill me now because I've literally played that scene in a corporate set. Like I played that game in a freaking corporate setting.
Yeah.
Like I was like, this is like, what is this show?
It is,
Like, what is happening in this?
they've perfectly captured the standard corporate workplace environment.
Yeah.
They really have this
It's
scene.
scary.
This scene made my soul cry because I was like, I've been in this show. Like God damn it. Wait, what? Who banned you?
I'm not sure.
Who banned you? Who
How are you
banned you?
banned? We see you.
So what? So what? We see you. I see you. I don't know why. I don't see anybody banning anybody on my
Nope.
chat so far. Everything's cool.
Yeah. I'm the wrench on duty, and I have banned nobody.
Oh, yeah, no, because I don't know. I'm looking at the chat on my side, and
Oh,
there's
they're
nobody.
talking about someone called Brittany. I'm not sure to whom they were referring, because there's about 500 million women with that name. I don't know.
Brittany
Help.
Venti? What?
No, I don't know. Well, I guess talk to her. I don't know.
No, she's not even here. But
That's what I'm saying is, like, if they're in the chat, maybe go to her.
it's possible that it could be like a YouTube thing too, like because
Mhm.
sometimes YouTube doesn't show certain messages, and then if there's not mods, they don't approve it, and then it just doesn't show it. So it's possible that could have happened as
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
or sometimes YouTube just times people out for absolutely no reason.
They have their own mods.
Yeah,
I
that
would-
happens to me all the
Yeah.
time in Ryan Kinnell's chat. Like I just go in and I say hi, and I get timed out.
No doubt, yeah. Well, I once got banned by Geeks and Gamers, and Jeremy still apologizes to me for it, and it's like,
Oh my
I
God.
know it wasn't you. Okay.
Yeah, that happens to me all the time in Ryan Kendall's chat. I just go in and I'm like, "Hi, Ryan," and it's like, "You've been timed out for 300 seconds," and I'm like, "Oh."
Yeah, according to Chris, he gets timed out on mine all the time too. I don't know. I think that the algorithm is, well, Big Brother's watching.
My God, it's not Big Brother. It's this fucking company. What is this company called again? It's
Loomis or Lumen.
Lumen. Fucking Lu.
Yeah.
It's Lubin.
Lubin. Oh, they're Lubin in more than one way. Yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
God.
it also got scary when they got locked in, when they installed the new door.
Oh,
Uh-huh,
yes.
I was
uh-huh.
like, oh my God, what is happening?
Dude, what the hell was up with the whole like thing? The written code thing and how they were like they they know that you're taking like a message across or whatever, like you're
Oh,
not allowed to
yeah.
take
They
written
can
words
scan
across.
words. Yeah.
Yeah, it can
I,
scan any type of wording, letters.
I feel like that was BS because
No, but
that guy brought in the book.
Yeah. Well, especially
wait,
when he said about they were going to
no.
pull it out of her buttocks the
The
hard
lady brought
way.
in the book.
Yeah. So they brought in the book.
She did, not one of the people who are severed.
So you think the code scanner only works for severed people?
Yeah, I think that's the only people monitored by it.
Yeah, they don't care what anyone else does. I guess because they feel that they're
Upper
they're okay.
management, probably.
Yeah, they're not trying to escape.
Oh, so they don't. Oh, okay. But that's a weird code though. Wouldn't it be a weird code to like just activate if it's I don't know.
But what's
Well,
funny,
that's the
there's
science fiction aspect. I think where they're asking us to have some suspension of disbelief.
Oh, it was
yeah.
a non-severed elevator, Dax says.
Yeah,
That makes
So,
sense.
That makes sense, I
yeah.
guess.
I mean,
And
if we
there's
can,
also there is a loophole of sorts because there's a letter that sort of accompanies the show that Apple TV's come up with. I thought was so cool.
That's right. Tell us about this letter, Jane, because I haven't read it.
So this is from a lady who was severed. She went through the sever process, and her Annie started to remember things, and including specifically a language that she had made up as a child, which was, I want to say, I can't remember if it was pictures or something like that, but it wasn't using traditional letters. And so the lady was able to communicate in this weird language that she had formulated as a child and put a message in the pocket of her outie who found it and was able to read it. And from there,
Oh.
they started to communicate about what was going on the inside. And she was trying to get answers and all this. And then something happened where what she was doing in the workplace coincided with a terrorist attack on the outside.
Whoa.
And
I have to read this letter.
they believe that it's connected, that the things that they're doing on the inside are having real world effects. And she's trying to sneak this letter detailing everything that happened to the news, right? To
Where
the
do we get this
journalists.
letter again? Can I
Yeah,
where do we
I put the link in the group chat.
Oh yeah,
But
okay.
it gets
wild.
shut down. So
I wanna read that.
it's so cool. It's a whistleblower letter.
Yeah.
And see, this is the sort of thing I love when
I like that
when-
stuff.
when networks start just delving into the world, into the environment like that, the world building begins to expand like this. I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, and see, and this is the kind of thing I would care about versus like, what we got in The Expanse where they're like, here's like whatever's polyamorous family. And I'm like, I really
Right.
don't give a
I don't care.
Yeah.
but like this is way more entertaining to me. Okay, I'm gonna read this. This looks interesting. But okay, I found that other scene. So this scene was really interesting too because they're like going into like they're going into where the corporate leaders are, and this was like episode 3, and obviously this is going to be a huge thing for us as viewers moving forward when we find out who she actually was, right? Like we're like, oh, she's looking at her family lineage basically right here, because at first like we don't know that. But first she sees this dude here, and that like turns out that that's her dad. Like later
Yeah.
on. And then we're like, oh. And then I thought this part was funny when they're like looking at the different like the different people or whatever that were like the CEOs of the company.
Mhm.
And then they're like, oh yeah, she was like the female CEO.
The first
And like
woman.
the first woman CEO, and they start talking about the first woman CEO.
Uh-huh.
It's just like I just thought it was so funny, like the way it was just like, because she was like, oh, I guess like I don't know. It was just funny because they were like they were talking about the first female CEO, and I thought
Well,
it was really funny.
she said because I think the story was that when she was little, she said she was gonna be the first CEO or something, the first female CEO. And what Helly was saying was, "I wish I could just remember my childhood." So it was just this really weird dynamic
That's
where this is
right.
your family.
Yeah,
Mhm.
because later on we're like, oh my god, she's the like she's the granddaughter or whatever. Like
That
this
was a
is her
big reveal.
family. That was a big reveal. I mean, I knew we were gonna find out who she was. Like I was like, because like the show starts with her, like literally. So it's really weird for me when like shows want to say, they start with a certain character and then they take it to another direction, like because
Mhm.
they took it to Mark afterwards. But the show started with her. So that's always really like, significant to me what character you decide to start your show with. It's the same thing, kind of like the idea that I have about Campion and Raised by
Yeah.
Wolves. That I think that Campion
Mm.
is the main character because the show starts with his birth and like his thing. So like I think that in this case is really interesting that they came back to her, and like all the stuff we see now is like foreshadowing for who she actually is, and that she's actually really involved with this family like way more than we thought at the beginning. And her reactions to everything is just so funny, and like them knowing that the severance procedure has worked. She doesn't remember any of this shit. She doesn't know that she's who she is, and she hates herself. um
Yeah.
it's
I
all those
love
things are
too
really
how they went
interesting.
on this little company field trip and everybody was trying to play a game to pass the
Oh yeah, the
time.
bingo.
Oh my god, the bingo was hilarious because that was one of the character development things for the gay dude, because
Yeah.
they were saying like, oh, she's or like they didn't care, and they were like, we're gonna play company bingo because this is fucking boring, and he's all, well, you know this is so important. This is the foundation of the company that we work for. And he was like very like
Mhm.
he was very offended that they were playing that game.
Yeah. Hey,
They
And
we've
really
I
all
bought
done
in.
that.
I was totally the person making up the bingo games. There's that scene where we finally figure
Yeah.
out
Mhm.
who she is.
A severed story,
Helly.
and how they manipulated it, only showing her happy, and all those pictures. You realize all those pictures that they kept taking of them, like looking like they were bonding. When
Yeah.
That was so cool because the whole time I kept thinking to myself, why does this black guy keep taking random pictures of them for no reason? Like it's
Mhm.
weird. Like it's not like they have a company newsletter. Like who's getting
Mhm.
these photos? Like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it was just really weird the way that he kept taking pictures of them, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, here's all those pictures.
I kind of thought
Mhm.
it was for the company propaganda because there is this public dissension about it,
Ah,
but this tied in really well.
Yeah,
yeah.
adds a whole new
Yeah.
level of creep. Now, did I understand correctly though that her real persona, Helen or whatever, really is a villain? That
Yes.
she's completely evil. Okay, yeah, because see,
See, I
my
don't think
brain was
so.
exploding so hard. Well, no, because when we saw her in the video, the VCR, and she was like, "You're being bad. If I'm gonna make you suffer if you cut off my fingers or something." That was the real her. But what we saw in the last episode, correct me if I'm wrong, was her Helly, because they escaped because they did that little card thing.
Yeah, that was her. Yeah, that was her Annie who had escaped at the end.
Yeah,
Mhm.
But I
but that her Audi is actually very, very evil.
I
That's what
don't
I thought.
think so though. I think her
I don't
Audi
Go
had to
ahead, Jen.
put on that image of being evil with her when they were being monitored. But I think her hostility toward the program on the inside reflects maybe an inner conflict about the program. And someone even had a theory that she's behind the anti-severance happening in the real world.
See, I don't know about that because, but I'll tell you this. Like, my theory is that I'm not sure like how much she's involved with the anti-severance thing, but the thing with it with her storyline, a few things that stuck out for me was one, how excited she was at the very beginning. Because when we see her, like in episode 2, when we see her going for that brain procedure, she's
Mhm.
extremely happy, and they're like, and in the like when she's like, I think it was in the first episode when she's doing the walk in and walk out like every, and then she walks out, and then that black guy's there and telling her whatever, and like the conversation they had when he was like, I can't believe someone of your caliber would even want to do this, and like we're just so like you're so happy to be here and blah blah blah. So at first I thought she was a scientist, like I thought she was some sort of scientist that has worked on the project, that has a very big leeway in the world, and has decided to enter this so that she can say like, hey, I maybe she was the creator. That's what I thought.
Mhm.
Maybe she's the creator of the thing, and she's doing it to say like, hey, look how safe it is, I'm here too, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
And that was close, but like, it wasn't quite this. So now I think to myself, Teresa, the reason I'm not sure if she's quote unquote evil is because the outside self is also going through certain things. Like, for example, while we were watching that video, she was talking about how she was raised into, reciting those same words that like,
Oh, yeah.
they have to recite
Mm.
all the time. And like, there's certain things that she's had to go through in her personal life to be who she is. So she has also been indoctrinated in this company's ideology since she was born, because she is,
Mhm.
on the throne technically to receive the highest degree of becoming the CEO of the company. So I think that goes hand in hand with who she is, because she's just like kind of like an indoctrinated little girl that has to do this because of who she is. And I
Mhm.
don't think that quite qualifies you as being quote unquote evil. It's sociology, right? Like, who are you
Yeah.
born as and what are you getting in your head? Because when she goes into her office world, she's no longer that indoctrinated individual, and that her empathy can shine finally. But when she's not, she has no empathy because she's been indoctrinated.
Mhm.
So
Well,
that's
yeah,
why I think, I don't know.
well, no, and I think all of those are good. I guess we'll have to wait till season 2. I hate to keep saying this because I want to see more. Like, now that we know who she is for real, I'd love to see more of her. Because you're right. I mean, I think both of you are absolutely right. Because we don't know. I mean, and wouldn't that make the weirdest kind of antagonist? Your antagonist is yourself, but also a
Woo,
villain
yeah.
that is layered.
And it's so weird too because we know by seeing a little bit of her interaction with her father that she grew up in a very bizarre household. By the
Mhm.
way,
Hmm.
he's really weird. I wonder if he's himself or whether he's
Oh.
been severed.
I was thinking the same thing too, because I actually thought he's really weird. He seems like the Asian lady. So I
Yeah,
figured, like, is he like some sort of like brought back from
okay.
the dead kind of thing? Like,
Oh.
I don't know, because he seemed really fucking strange. And I
Could
was like, are they
You're
be.
trying to
right.
bring back the dead? And like,
Maybe that's what. Oh,
maybe
Holy
that's what this
crap.
is all about. Maybe that's what they're trying to do, is bring back the dead and turn them into zombies.
Yeah, like Pet Cemetery.
and they're never quite the
Mm,
same.
and they're never quite the
Yeah,
same,
because you can't really bring someone back from the dead.
because consciousness and all that.
They'll become monsters.
Oh, this is getting interesting. I think we might have cracked it, you guys. I think we formulated a theory that I can be happy with going into season 2. Maybe that's what they're doing. I don't know what the coding does though. Maybe the coding is to figure out the feeling that they're supposed to feel, because it's all code.
Ooh.
Yeah, and it's part of the algorithm. There we go again. Watch that algorithm.
Oh. I like it. I like the theory that we came up with.
I
It
like it.
seems like because the chip in it, like they're trying to captivate consciousness,
Right.
feelings of emotions, what certain thing, and then they're attributing code and numbers to emotions. So if they're doing that, that means they're creating a code where they can you know
Replicate
copy
consciousness?
replicate consciousness. That's right. So that they can possibly bring back the dead.
And maybe that's the connection with himself and his wife, because then maybe that's his whole motivation is he's missing his wife, and maybe they promised him something like, "We'll bring your wife back from the dead." I don't know.
Dax says Total Recall Schwarzenegger wiped his own memory and was a bad guy to get past the physics. That's interesting because it does have Total Recall
And okay, so
connotations.
maybe if that's the case, maybe that's why Karen flipped out so much, because part of her agreement was that she would get someone back. And now she got fired, and that won't happen. She breached her contract.
What does the goats have anything to do with it, though?
I know. A food source? Oh, wait. So we
cheese.
know some people may live there. Maybe that's a food source for the people.
Yeah, because they kept saying it's not ready. It's not ready. Like I was like, uh-oh, what are they trying to do to these goats? Like that seems like
poor goats.
they're like raising them to be eaten or
cloned
milked.
too.
I don't know.
So much you could do with them.
Ooh. I don't know. I'm liking this. I'm liking this theory that we cultivated. I like it. I like it. I think he meant physics. What?
I love this show.
What a bizarre show. Now I'm like thinking about all the stuff we just talked about. I'm like,
watch
wow.
it again.
I know. I think I'm gonna have to watch it too.
I gotta watch this again too. Now that we've talked about it, I feel like I need to watch it again and see if I can see anything else. And therein lies why it's a good show and why you should probably watch it too, because it gives you rewatchability value, and you're like, okay, well, let me figure out what all of this meant. Let me talk about it with my friends and see if we agree, we disagree. There's a lot of these are the things that we've been missing in entertainment, having fun and talking about a show. It's a water cooler show. What did you think of this episode? What and it was a week to week release, by the way. We just happened to watch it when it was all over. So it actually just became over. And I think that's a really it's a good sign for a good show. Again, it's directed by Ben Stiller, which blew my mind. Not all of the episodes were directed by Ben Stiller, though. Only I think 6 out of the 9 were. There was another lady that directed 3 of the episodes. But it was all in all, it was really good. Very well written. I don't know. There was a lot of good things about it. There's also a lot of interesting things that I was like, what the F? Like that entire department, like the other department, I was like, what is happening? Like they're like the painting department, and they're like, they approve graphic design for their company, and then it's like, oh, once in a while you'll get these paintings on the wall, and that's their entire job, to approve the paintings and to draw them. I don't know what the hell that was. It was just so strange. Like I was like, I don't know. There's just so many weird things about it. There was also another thing that was really strange about it was that all the stuff that they had were Lumen brands.
Yeah.
Even their coffee machine, even even the little food packets, the little raisins that guy would get. It was all Lumen. I was like, what is this? They even have their own product. They even have their own food production where they're making these corporate brand things, and that was really interesting.
I think that's why the eggs were so good. I mean, even Haley commented they were delicious.
Yeah, and you know what? That actually made me think maybe they have another room full of chickens that are laying eggs.
I think so.
Oh my gosh.
Because maybe that's what the goat thing was about, is that they're actually farming their own animals and so that they can eat, on grounds. That would make sense. Like if the explanation was as stupid as that, I would still accept it. I'd be like, okay, yeah, I could see that, because there's a lot of companies that do that kind of thing. Like Amazon does it. A lot of companies like have on ground things. I mean, mind you would think that there would be an actual farm, not a weird room where some dude is sitting there and feeding baby goats. It was really fucking weird, man. I was like, what is
But I think he may be weird because maybe that's his only job. That's what
I
he does
know,
all
that's
day.
bizarre. Dude, that guy is in a nightmare. No coworkers. You get to go in and day out and just feed baby goats, and there's baby goats everywhere, and they're like, "Eh," and you're like, oh, dude.
Constantly.
Like, that would drive me absolutely crazy. I'd
If
be
I
like,
could play
okay,
with puppies all day, that would be great.
that would be fun. That would be, that's acceptable.
I want the pet department.
So what? So what's like, I'm scared again. Dude, I'm telling you, the goat thing was weird. When you see it, you'll know what I'm talking
he
about.
was really freaking.
I was like, what?
Lots of it was really, but it makes you think, and it's like a book. When some people say, "Is this any good?" and I stop and think, it's like, well, did it make me mad in the bad kind of way, like woke stuff, or did it propaganda rather, or did it keep me turning the pages? This show kept me watching. This show made me think, and this show didn't tick me off in the wrong kind of way. The only thing that ticked me off was that when it was over and I realized I had to wait an indeterminate amount of time for season 2.
Right.
That was me. That's the only reason that I was super mad. I was like, oh man, I hate you, Jane. You know I like endings. And
It was
now I have to wait.
That cliffhanger was one of the best cliffhangers I've seen in a very long time.
Yes.
What did she say? We're prisoners, or we're being
We're
tortured?
prisoners.
We're prisoners. We're being tortured, and
we're being tortured.
And then,
everything they're telling you is a lie.
Yeah.
And then meanwhile, that guy's running out going, she's alive. She's alive. And then they like cut him off.
Cut him off, and then you just see her being tackled, and then that's it. And then that
well,
guy's
no, you
banging
don't
on
see
the
her
door.
being tackled. You see the dude being tackled.
Oh, the dude was being tackled. Oh, maybe I got it mixed up.
Here we are.
Because it was all happening at
I
once.
think she gets pulled away.
Because
she gets pulled
he's
off the
there and
stool.
he's being like, oh, it ends with him going, he's alive.
Yeah,
or
and
she's
then
alive.
the chick. See, I thought some dude came and tackled her like a linebacker.
Because he came in and he tackled Dylan because the guy was like holding the thing, and then somebody tackled her, and she's going, they're torturing us. Everything they told you is a lie, and like whatever. He's getting tackled, and then he's running out because he realized that that's his wife because he saw the picture, and then he runs out going, she's alive, to his sister, and then that's it.
Yeah, and
that's
then it goes ding. That was like the last thing. It was telling
The
us
elevator.
that their brains went back to the innies and outies.
Yeah, it was the elevator kind of thing.
I can't imagine what they're gonna do with this information though. Now that they're back.
I mean, this is really interesting. Well, first of all, we know that poor freaking Dylan is going to the room.
Yeah. Oh yeah, they're all gonna be brainwashed.
Oh, that's gonna suck for that guy. That room is creepy too.
Oh my god, that room is insane, and they have to keep saying it over and over until their metrics.
Yes.
So contrition.
It was very like Star Trek, the Next Generation, like how many lights kind of thing. I really like that. I was like, like mental torture. I'm all about the mental torture.
Sufficiently contrite, you
But
don't.
Dylan, okay, wait. Dylan was the one who said that he had found a way to get through it by thinking of something he really was sorry for.
Yes, he did
So
say
maybe
that.
he was the perfect one to stay behind.
He did say that, unless they're gonna send him to where that other guy got broken, the black room.
Ooh,
where the dead chick goes.
Yeah, for an indeterminate amount of time.
There's so many things I want to know. Eternal Dorman, what was the sound picture aspect like on a scale of Beverly Hillbillies to Twin Peaks? I definitely put it on par with Twin Peaks. It's very good. Very good.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's high quality. It's high quality.
Very. Even the intro, like, is
the intro was
creative.
Great. Yeah, like fantastic stuff. the whole theme, like the whole piano theme
Yeah.
goes through the entire thing, and it goes really well, and it's very eerie, and it just sounds really good. I mean, I could still hear it in my brain because it's I don't know. I'm like that with music. It kind of like the last time I remember something like this happened to me was like when I was watching Dark on Netflix.
Yeah, yeah.
I was like the theme is just like constantly in your brain and you can't stop thinking about it.
Right
The other
now,
thing that I
I
wanted
hear
to
it.
highlight, by the way, is I did love the relationship between the brother and the sister. I
Yes.
feel like you
Mhm.
don't really get sibling like sibling relationships all that much in new media, and
Mhm.
for some reason it just seems really weird whenever they do it nowadays. I don't know why, but I felt like they did it really well in this, and it wasn't they didn't make the sister like super like amazing, and she seemed
Right.
flawed, and she seemed like she's trying to figure out motherhood, and like just certain things. And I liked their relationship, very grounded, again, felt really real. The other thing that I really liked was that part where he goes to Petey's funeral and he meets, first of all, he meets the ex-wife that was named Nina. And I was like, oh my God. And she had
Mm.
curly hair too. And I was like, oh my God, I'm in the show. I saw myself. I'm just joking. But like, no, the daughter I felt was a really good character.
Yeah.
I liked her reaction to the Karen lady when she's like, "Were you a friend?" And she's like, just turns around, like looks at her, like, "That's my fucking dad. Like, who the fuck are you?" Like,
Right.
like, because that's the kind of thing like you would feel to like. I felt that recently when I lost my dad, and like some people hit me up, and I was like, "Who are you again?" Like,
Yeah.
like because you feel angry at the loss, and you're like I don't even know who you are, kind
Yeah,
of
all
thing.
these
Like,
people come out of the woodwork suddenly.
yeah, exactly. And it's like, "Who are you?" And then like because the Karen lady was so like emotionally inept, because she goes like, were you and he close even, or something, like, I guess you and he were close. And she like looks at
Mhm.
him like, or she looks at her like, it's my fucking
Mhm.
dad. Like who the fuck are you? Like, it was just like really like I
Yeah.
liked her reaction, and I thought it was really like even though she was like a secondary third degree character, she wasn't even like a big character or anything. I thought the actress did really well, and she had another line in the show that I thought was really well done, was that when she was at the funeral with him, and she was mad at him, but in a way she was mad at her father because he's dead now. And she looked at him and she goes, "You really think that, cutting yourself off for 8 hours a day is a good fucking idea to deal with your problems? Why can't you just deal with the problems like, the rest of us?" Kind of
Mhm.
thing.
Mhm.
And I thought it was really interesting because later on it showed how she deals with her emotions and her problems by being in that band and like singing those really emotional, like, because like music really ties you to your emotions, and like
Mhm.
getting it out. And then you could see her process, and like things even as small as that they kind of like put together, and I thought that that was really cool. There was a lot of attention to detail.
Yeah.
There was just certain things that you didn't even think about you need to know, and then you were like, oh, that was good information. you
She
know
almost seemed more real. Like, I think what the show is starting to set up, and Dax sort of hinted at this as well,
Mhm.
is that there is a difference, a distinction between people who are truly from the real world who haven't been severed and these really weird people we're encountering throughout this town
Mm.
who clearly have had something happen to them.
Mm.
Either they've been severed or they're the result of whatever the severance process is truly about.
Well, it's starting to get really freaky in terms of like how many people are severed, because like we said, like we know that elite woman was severed, but I don't even think she knew that she was severed. Like
Yeah.
I don't even think they remember that they're getting severed. And
Yeah.
then I think that this is going to cause a lot of problems, and other people don't know. Like normal citizens don't know other people are being severed other than the people who work for Lumen.
Right.
So this is getting really weird and interesting. Dax, you said something interesting here. This is one of the best shows on TV. It's a tiny bit woke, but well worth it. I don't think people rage quit shows because they put gay people in it anymore.
No.
I
didn't
have
even
to
notice.
say, like, look, I have to say, if you are one of those people who rage quits over gay or whatever, like, first of all, you're weird. Second of all, I think that they did the gay relationship really well in this show. Like, I didn't think that them being gay overshadowed anything else. Like, I thought that they just really did a good job. Like, it could have been anybody. Like, it could have been any relationship, and I was fine with it. It wasn't one of those things where they're like, gay, and I don't
it had a
know.
purpose. Like it
had a
actually moved
purpose.
the story forward and will
Mhm.
continue from what we've seen in the last episode.
Yeah. And it seemed like I thought it was interesting because he clearly was also gay in real life. So it wasn't like, oh, he was different and subconscious. Like his subconscious is different than his consciousness or like whatever. He's gay, like he's a gay man. And he, that was the first time that he had felt emotions like that since he had been severed in that building, because otherwise his entire life was reading those pamphlets and spending time with those dudes who he wasn't sexually attracted to, obviously, because then he would have been, with them and feeling differently about them. But he felt that about that guy, and that awakened something in him. That the thing that he experienced, that emotion that he experienced for that guy, awakened something in him in order to be able to finally like snap out of that nightmare. And and then they screwed themselves, because when they took that guy out, that guy was like, I'm burning this shit the fuck down. Right.
Exactly.
And it
They
shows
should have just let him be.
kind of shows the power of love too in that regard.
Yeah.
What you're willing to do and how that can drive extremely powerful emotion and potentially violent emotion, because we don't know what he's going to do next.
Christopher Walken being in it was just a trip in itself. I was how is Christopher Walken in this? Like when he showed up, I was like, I can't believe he's in this. This is amazing.
Such a great actor, and he was so underused. I mean, he was barely a supporting character. You just saw him just a little bit.
He was just another guy.
That's an interesting question, Dax, because I thought the same thing too. Like if he's out as an outie, like what if he's like in the closet as an outie, and then like when he's in there, like he can, like, I don't know. I thought about that too. They didn't really clarify, but
yeah,
I thought that was an interesting.
I don't think I would be surprised if they add that element to it. I think it's just they're treating it as just a regular relationship.
Yeah, that's what I took as well. But you're right, Nina, and I'm sorry, it was Dax or something that said that it wasn't really actually clarified. We didn't see anything of his outie personal life, did we?
At all. It seems like, and that's why I think he's in on this mission. It may even, I forget the dates that this company started, but he has a photo of his father, right? So I wonder if his dad was part of this company too, and maybe they did something to him. Maybe he has a loss that's driving him on the outside to want to bring this company down. It's just, I don't know. It could go in so many different directions.
We need to know more, definitely. 200 Watt Studios, is this a good time for a super chat animal noise? 200 Watt Studios, I've told you before, the super chat tier for animal noises has gone up. But if you rewind, I did make a goat noise, and that was for free. So.
Wow.
I'm just telling you. It just happened because I was talking about the guy with the goats, and I made a goat noise. Because the goat was crying in his arm, and I was like, and I did that. It just came out.
Yeah. My issue with the goats would be if they're stuck in a room. Like if he got to play with the goats outside every day, I could maybe.
That's what I'm saying, Jane. It was a weird, man, and he's just like sitting there with like that thing on his, like, he was wearing a suit, and he was wearing like that thing like over a suit, and he's like milking these, like he's like He's got the little bottle, and it's like, I'm like, what is this job? This guy has the nightmare job. Like everybody else needs to quit complaining because this is messed up. Like,
And his out, he probably doesn't even know if that's how he dresses every day.
no, he doesn't know. What do you think? But he probably comes home smelling like goat, though. Isn't he like, ew, like what do I smell like? Why do I smell like I went to a fucking petting zoo? I don't know.
That's so
Oh, there's
weird.
so many. Isn't that weird that the biggest question I have left is what is up with the goats? Because I feel pretty confident that we fucking cracked what the code was. Like I'm pretty sure we cracked it. I don't think that they could be more creative than what we came up with. I think it might even be lamer than what we came up with. But the goats, I don't know. That's
The
the real
mystery.
mystery. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a part of the problem with when you have too much time to think of theories. Sometimes what we come up with is far more complicated than perhaps what they had in mind.
I really feel like I feel like we did it. I think we figured it out. And we may have even done better than what they got because you know how it is. Fans usually come up with better theories.
Yeah.
Yep. Looking at you, George Martin.
Oh wow. Oh, name drop too.
Okay, so Eternal's saying that goats smell nice. Do they?
Well,
Oh, really?
never
not
smelled
exactly,
one.
not really. I mean,
They smell like farm animals, dude. Farm animals.
they smell.
Maybe they're clean. I don't know.
I don't know. I don't
May-
usually hang around a lot of goats. I
They're
must
not
say.
I
in
would
the
feel
dirt,
like
I
they
guess.
would shit themselves. By the way, there wasn't enough shit on that ground. I'll just say it. You know what? Let's go to the goat scene. We
Okay,
need
we need to see the
we need an
goats.
image of this goat scene. Do you guys remember what episode it was?
Screw
I
all the
remember
rest
when
of
the
this stuff.
episode
Tell
where they
us
were
about the
walking
goats.
around in the okay,
I
hold on.
don't remember.
They were walking around. It was after she tried to end herself. Good girl. Good for her.
Episode 5.
Was episode 5?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah.
There okay, hold on. This is the pregnancy cabin. Yes, it's definitely this because this is when she's Casey's there with them. Okay, yes, it's definitely this. And then they find the goat room. Okay, this was creepy, man. Hold on. Like the part where they're like walking and the lights keep coming on and there's no ending to it. I was like, oh, they're gonna get to something real weird here. And then of course they got to the goat room.
I don't know
was
how
like,
they don't get lost in there.
I know, I would get so lost. Okay, here it is. There's literally no shit on the ground. This can't be. There's no way unless there's somebody else cleaning this room.
Yeah, there we go.
Like, okay, because they're animals, okay? You would think there'd be shit everywhere here.
Well, maybe it's over on the right side. You just don't see it.
There would be more shit than this.
Uh-huh.
I feel like.
Baby goat. I could probably do that job. They're
Could
cute.
you?
Well, I'm look at the baby.
Hey,
Look.
little baby.
Yeah, we like the goats, and they're white goats. I mean,
My God, I would die. I would want to kill myself.
No, and you just feed them.
Oh
Hey,
my
if you had
God. Like the
something
fact that they're
to-
like baying in your face every 5 seconds, I'd be like, no.
They're
Fuck off.
babies.
Wait,
I could probably do that.
it's glitching. No, there was another scene where he's like, like they zoom up to him. Oh, there he is. And he's like, get out.
Run.
oh, great! All the
They're
animal
not
noises.
ready. I was like, what the frig? Like, there he is.
There we go. I love it. Look at that.
I think it's protective of them.
He was protective of them. This was
Alright.
this was the weirdest scene in the entire show. I was like, what? I don't know. I felt like this was one of those scenes in Lost where they finally found like the underground lair with that fucking button, remember? And then
Yeah.
nothing happened with that. I was like, what?
I think something's definitely gonna happen with this. I just don't know what.
Mm-hmm.
201 Studio says goats smell fantastic, especially with little Chanel 5 or Oh my god.
Shalimar.
Shalimar.
Shalimar. Oh my god.
They probably let him take a shower before he goes back.
Oh my god.
But they are cute.
I mean, they're
With little
cute, but
ears.
they're really annoying. They were like, they're like going crazy. Their face too was like, they're like, what is this? Like, what is happening here? There it is. Hold on. I just paused it on their face. Like, what? Like, look at his face. He's like, what am I looking at right now? I don't even know.
Well,
And
she,
she's like, "What?"
herself too. Look at that.
This scene was so bizarre. All right. On that note, final thoughts. Teresa, what are your final thoughts on the show?
Oh, I loved it. I think I need to watch it again because my first viewing, which was this week and a half or so, I was going, what the fuck? And what's going on? What the? And now that I know, and I loved it, I want to go back and see the little hints and the clues and all the things I might have missed. But if I were to give it a rating, I think it was a 10 out of 10. There was not even half a Padme in this. So go
Wow.
for it. Yeah,
That's amazing. Red 2. I think Red 2 nailed it. And it goes
Ooh.
hand in hand with our theory
Yeah.
that they're cloning people.
Maybe.
So maybe the goats are like their practice ground on cloning, because usually that's what they do. They clone pigs or goats or like, other shit, and then they clone humans.
I would not want to be in the pig room.
Oh gosh, no, thank you. No.
But no, I mean, like in general though, like right
Yeah,
now, like
yeah.
when they're working, usually like they clone sheep. But they've successfully cloned sheep in our world. I think
Yeah.
they've successfully cloned pigs. I'm not sure, but I know
No.
they've done it for sheep. So
What was her
maybe
name?
they're doing goats in this. I don't know. You might be onto something, Red 2.
I think
Yeah.
so. I think
That
that's
they started with animals and they're going to move on to humans, and that's what all
Yeah.
the code is. You see, it's all connected.
You might be on something, Red 2. Yes, I do. This is a very random question, but yes.
Yeah, I think that's your first language, isn't it?
Yeah.
Mhm.
My mother tongue. Yeah. The goat scene was up there with the waffle party weirdness.
Oh, yes.
That's what I said. I'm like, dude, what is up with that scene?
And
Like
it's
that
so
was crazy.
I thought at first, like, why are they taking him to this random house in the middle of this place? And so he's eating the waffles, which I thought looked delicious, actually.
Yeah, I wanted waffles when I was watching
know.
that.
And then it would sit on the bed, which before it said you can't sit on the bed. And then all this weird stuff starts happening.
Yeah. But that's apparently that's the only time they can get on, like get their freak on, because otherwise they can't ever get their freak on. And then I don't know.
It's
I
so
don't know.
weird.
It's weird. It's weird. So 10 out of 10 from Teresa.
Mhm.
That's amazing. Jane, tell us your final thoughts and
Oh.
I guess your rating if you want to rate it.
Oh, absolutely 10 out of 10. This is a fantastic show. I love it. Everything about it. You can tell that they took their time because every scene has meaning, and in fact, multiple meanings, and you can read things into it on top of that. So it's really exciting to watch. It keeps your attention from scene to scene, from episode to episode. You want more. It's great at world building as well. Like you said before about the music is really good. The sound design is awesome.
Mhm.
The effects aren't limited, but very good. The acting is amazing. I can't say enough about the people they
So
chose for
good.
the show. And yeah, it's just really it's true entertainment. And I would even say escapist entertainment because when I'm watching it, I'm not thinking about anything else.
Yeah, same here, Jane. I was not thinking about anything else. Well, I mean, other than how close it is to actual reality in terms of
Well,
like,
yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
corporatism
That's
and stuff like
relatable.
that. but
It's
I
the
wasn't
story of
thinking
my
about
life.
COVID or nothing. Yeah, like I was like, okay, like this is definitely away from this world in that sense. But it's funny because it makes you think about our world. Like I was thinking about Scientology, because Scientology has like that thing. I was thinking about how different corporations are now really trying to do what this company has done, like deify their CEOs, and they're
Right.
trying to like make you, think of them as something way more than they are. Like they're just flawed humans like everybody else. Like they're not they're nobody special. They're not messiahs. They're not like anything.
Or even
These
like what
people.
Teresa was talking about, how it can make you feel like your workplace environment, which is really torture, is
Mhm.
somehow meaningful or more important than it actually is. But they do it, they have all of these different messages, but they do it in such a way that it's not a one-to-one correlation. So you don't feel like you're being beaten over the head with it.
Yep.
But you
Mhm.
can come to your own conclusions and make your own connections with the real world.
And Bush brings up like Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg, and that's like actually
Mhm.
exactly who I thought about. Like people who like Bezos like think that they're different, like they're on a different tier than us, and then they're like they just kind of think like other people are below them. And there is that aspect of the elite, which I think that is very evident in this as well. Like, same with Gates. Like there's a lot of people in the elites in this world that like kind of feels like that, and then they're trying to incorporate this into their actual corporate ideology to like deify themselves. So I think that it's really like those kind of things are really they hit close to home in this show, and I think that was really fascinating.
Mhm.
Anything else you want to mention, Jane?
Oh, I love that. I love how they were able to sort of subtly impart those sorts of ideas, but without like making it so obvious. Like you could think
Mm-hmm.
about things that you see happening in the real world or in your own experience with corporate America, and
Mm-hmm.
relate to it on that level, but at the same time see it as completely, something totally different if you want to. Like you don't have to make the connection. And I love that as well, because I think that's missing from a lot of today's entertainment. It's like they
Mm-hmm.
have their message and that is the only thing you can get out of it. And they repeat it to you and
That's
they
right.
until you can't escape it.
That's
If
right.
you want,
You're
you
so
Exactly.
can't just
right.
watch it and just enjoy it and not think about it. But this show you can. So it's whatever you choose.
Yeah,
And that's
it's weird because for me, like you're so right, because for me, like I just recently went through a loss. So like I was looking at it from that angle as well, because the main character had also dealt with a loss. So I was thinking about it through like his way, and like how sometimes a loss can be so kind of crippling, where you don't really want to deal with it. And if you have like one of those personalities where you're like you just don't want to deal with that aspect of yourself, that it would be so um tempting to do this. Like it would be so tempting to like cut off that part of yourself for like at least 8 hours a day, so
Mhm.
that you don't have to feel anything. Like, I think that kind of thing is really that kind of thing hit close for me, like,
Yeah.
cause, and I think that kind of thing hits close to anybody, because we all really experienced loss, on whatever level, and then we deal with it in our own way. But I like that was one of the things that they explored in this show, was the idea of like how you can't like shutting yourself off is not the answer. And like, these are the things that are like really, you can really talk about with more emphasis, like in different shows and stuff like that. Because this is at the end of the day, like, it had a messaging, but it's not like, oh, my message is like, how there should be more women and like everything, or like, what I'm saying, like it wasn't like identity politics or like
Yeah.
whatever. Its messages were
Precisely.
original messages, like, how to deal with loss, and is it healthy to deal with it like this or like that, and then
Mhm.
present these different ideas of how it could be dealt with later in the future, because it's a very realistic
Yeah.
idea. It's very similar to actually what, Elon Musk wants to do with his neural net chip. Like he wants to stick chips in our brains that does this kind of stuff.
Well, you can
So,
remove negative memories, negative emotions. We could get to a point in
mhm.
society where we're able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like it has some real world similarities, while at the same time really making us think about what in sci-fi we don't actually want to make reality. There was another quote in it that I really liked. I call it neural net, but it's neural link. There was another quote that I liked in there where the Karen lady was like talking about it and saying humans like to like what was she saying? There's good news and bad news, that humans like to contemplate what it's like to live in hell, and hell is a construct of our imagination, but humans also like to create what they imagine, and they usually do create it. And that's what happened in this show. Somebody thought of this and they literally created hell, like
Right.
of a place where your consciousness gets frozen in time and never leaves, never sees the sunshine, never sees anyone again. Like, these things were it was very top notch the way they executed it.
But it's so weird too, because like what Hell experienced and like what you said, you're using your own body to do it. So what if your innie flips out and decides to kill you? Like,
I would.
it could
I'd
be
be
a
like,
problem.
you're
Think
out,
about that.
bitch. Yeah, see, like she tried to hang herself. I would have
Yeah.
cut myself. I would have been like, yeah, you try and fucking rescue yourself from this bitch and see you bleed out on the floor. Try it again.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Sorry, but I would.
yeah.
Like, I wouldn't want to be trapped in there. I'd rather take that child with me. I'd be
Yeah.
like, no,
Like a
let
warm
me out or we're
response.
both dead. Like,
Yeah.
you choose.
Yeah.
I was like, can I write it in my arm? Like, I would have like written it like, let me out, like in my arm. Like, because
She
they were like,
started to do that, and he told
yeah,
her
the
she
code
couldn't.
detectors or whatever. Like, I was like, I'm gonna fucking write this shit in my arm and see if it happens. But
She was
it was
gonna
so funny because she was
swallow.
gonna eat it, and that
Yeah.
guy was like, don't eat it because they'll want to know exactly which way to go in. And I was like, oh no.
I know. It's like, no.
Yeah, that was terrible. Ooh. Anyways, great show. Yeah, I give a pretty high score too. I never really give anything 10 out of 10, but I don't know. I don't know. See, okay, I'm nervous. But we're judging this season on its own as
Yeah.
season 1, not the whole series, because obviously we don't have an ending yet. So as a season 1 stands, I'm gonna go with 10 out of 10 as well, or at the very least 9 out of 10, because I honestly can't really tell I can't tell what a flaw would be in this yet, because we don't have answers. We don't have enough answers. I guess like the only thing that I can give it like in terms of a negative point is we don't have enough answers, and I don't know if we're going to get answers. So unless they put unless they pull a Lost where they just like they have mystery boxes that they can't answer, 10 out of 10. But if it turns into crap, we just can't exactly, Dax. We just can't know yet. We just can't know. So I'm going to judge it based on this series, this season alone, 10 out of 10. Definitely try it. If you guys have access to Apple TV, definitely try it.
Go for it.
It's a must watch if you have access to Apple TV. What show is next?
Oh, there's
Oh,
so many
good
good things.
question.
We need to watch a Bonnet movie.
A bonnet movie?
One of those where all the women are in bonnets and the dudes are in suits.
Oh.
Like a Jane Austen or
like a
Bridget.
period piece. Yeah, I'm down with that. But there's not I don't think there's any new ones, but I'm also down with that.
Yeah.
I
Well, the
kinda
newest
miss,
one
like,
is
period pieces.
Bridgerton, but I think it sucks. Well, it
I
doesn't
couldn't
suck.
get through it. I just
Yeah.
couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
I've never watched Bridgerton. I've never got into it. I wasn't really interested in it.
It's too soap opera-ish.
To soap opera, and it was
Yeah.
like porn. It was like if Jane Austen wrote porn, this is what it would be.
Well, hello. Now I'm interested. No, I'm just joking.
Well, the
I'm
season
just
1 guy
joking.
was quite nice, but you know what I mean. It was like lots of naked people and it very like Outlander sex. Oh, speaking of which, I still watch Outlander.
I love Outlander.
Outlander. Hey, let's
Ooh.
do Outlander. Outlander.
I've
rocks.
never seen Outlander.
Oh
You
my
could
God.
catch up.
Oh yeah.
Isn't Outlander like really long? Like I thought it's like 26 episodes for like the first season.
Yeah, it's a full thing, and it's on
It's
like
en-
season 6. Me and
it's
my mom will watch it.
enjoyable though.
Yeah.
I heard it sucks in the new seasons. That's why I got a little concerned. I was like, maybe I'll just wait because it seems like they're pulling Game of Thrones with this.
It's
No,
just
no.
different, but it's not like it evolves over time.
Yeah.
Are the books over for that show?
No.
I'm not watching that show.
Oh no.
Well,
There's no ending.
There's no ending to the books. It sounds like Game of Thrones all over again.
well, I
No.
keep waiting for one of the characters to just catch pneumonia and die. So because that's what happened back then. And you caught a cold and you'd keel over dead. You know.
That's
But I
true.
digress. It's worth it though. It's a very different kind of time travel show.
Aha, that's what women watch. Not all women. I didn't watch it.
Yeah. I don't know.
It's
Maybe
just
I'll search around.
super
I mean, there's loads of older
dramatic.
ones, like North and South and the British North and South. I don't know.
What's this one? I don't know what I've never even heard of this.
Pachinko?
Pachinko? I've never
Everybody
even heard of
Google.
that. Let's
Well,
see.
we'll see. I'll search around because I love Bonnet movies. I mean, we could do like mystery movies, but part of the problem is, I mean, it really would suck if we spoiled mystery. Like Death in the Nile, the new Death in the Nile.
Yeah. Pachinko is it seems like a Korean drama.
Okay, let me look. But are there bonnets? Okay, no, but that's okay.
It's a Korean immigrant family across 4 generations as they leave the homeland. It sounds totally not up my alley. Well, because it's just like a drama. Like I'm like, is it sci-fi? No,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to think about that. There's other options.
There are always
I
options.
kind of lean more towards sci-fi.
Yeah, I mean, like you told me about that from thing, but I'm concerned.
Oh my god, From is good.
Yeah, but I'm concerned because people who worked on Lost work on that shit.
That is true.
So
Now that's the one you would have to be
like,
concerned about not having a good ending at the ultimately, because it is seemingly heading in a direction where I don't know how they're going to come back from it.
Oh no! Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about.
It does.
That does not sound good.
But I'm enjoying it up until this point, kind of like with Lost, where I enjoyed it up until that point.
Yeah.
Well, that was definitely a case for Lost. I was like, oh my god, kill me now. After that, after certain something happened. Russo brothers. Oh no, yeah, no, this sounds awful. It's made by the Russo brothers. I mean, I did like the Winter Soldier. They made it.
I love Winter Soldier.
I might have to think about this one. I have to think about.
They were talking about.
Yeah, we can throw something.
But we talked about that one, didn't we?
Dark. I love Dark. I've already seen that. It's amazing. I still think it's really good.
We were review on that though. We reviewed that on either your channel or John's, right?
It was on John's.
Yeah.
Yeah, originally. I originally I had a problem with the ending, but I mean, I still think it could have had a better ending.
It could have had a better ending, but that was another
okay.
That was pretty complex and layered.
But dude, Dark season 1 though, like I was like, this is a masterpiece. Like season 1 in itself was just like, I don't know. When it comes to like time travel stuff, I was like, ooh, 10 out of 10. 11 out of 10. Like I was so into that show.
You know what we should watch? We should watch Britannia, or I've been told to watch that.
Britannia?
Yeah, it's about Britain back when it was Roman times, back in around the 3rd, 4th century. It's a Netflix.
Is it
woke?
It is.
Ooh.
It is. Have you seen it, Jane?
I've seen a couple of episodes. I couldn't stay with it.
Oh, interesting. Because I've been told by a non-work source to watch it, but not until Fat Lodi sings. The Last Kingdom's supposed to be good, but we'd have to watch 5 seasons.
It is freaking amazing.
Oh, well, there you go. Let's all watch 5 seasons. Come on.
We could do 5 seasons in a week. No, that's not gonna
Darn
happen.
right. Let's all quit our jobs. It's the ninth circle of hell, anyways.
But we could put that like in a, maybe several
future.
weeks time kind
Yeah.
of thing, like like
Alright.
something like a journey. It's a journey. It's going to be a journey. And
It's
one
gonna
one
be a
day we'll
journey.
be like, okay, we've all finally finished it. We can talk about it now because I would definitely have to start that show.
Well, and the Last Kingdom has the advantage that it is done. Like Britannia is not done yet. So
Raphael Winters' The Leftovers was a good exploration of being emotionally lost while Lot giving sufficient mystery boxes answered about the cult, the prophet, the second world, and how they disappeared happened.
I couldn't
The
get into it.
Sorry, what?
I couldn't get into The Leftovers.
The Leftovers is fucking awful. Like, I hate that show. And I can tell you why. It's because it's by Stephen Moffat, and I freaking hate that guy. Again, Lost. Like I cannot stand like shows like that like make absolutely no sense.
well,
I couldn't like I was like one of those people who I actually like started watching The Leftovers, and then literally in the first 10 minutes of the show they shot a dog, and I was like,
oh no, thank you.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Like, I was literally like, what was the point of this? And it literally had no point. They just killed a dog for the sake of just doing it, like shock factor. And I was like, I hate this show.
Oh,
And
no,
then it
thank you.
ended up being like just a terrible show, anyways. And I was right about it. It was awful. I just like, at one point, I stopped watching it, and then I went and watched like synopses from like YouTubers just so I can find out the story. And I was like, I knew this was going to be a terrible show. I was vindicated. Okay.
Someone mentioned Foundation, but I've started watching it. Not sure how I feel.
I've heard that show is terrible. I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard it's extremely woke and it has like absolutely nothing to do with the books.
Yeah, I
So
don't know anything about the books, but the show just seems very it's like it had a potential in terms of world building because it is a different, universe, but it just doesn't, I don't know. It's just weird. Doesn't make a
Yeah.
whole lot of sense to me, I guess. I don't know.
Well, if you watch it and you think it's good, then I'll try it. But like otherwise, I've heard it's terrible.
I'm on the fence.
I don't know. I heard it
The Little
from a lot
God
of
people I do like, actually. I forget the actor's name, but he's that really tall dude.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, what is his name?
The guy that was in The Expanse, because he's in it.
That may be him.
The redhead dude.
Lee Pace.
Is that what his name is?
Lee, I don't know if that's
Jared
actor's-
Harris.
No. This is Lee Pace. He is
Lee Pace. Okay.
gorgeous, but he's like a giant and is like godlike for some reason, having to do with technology.
Oh.
But I like him in it, but it is a very weird show, I have to say.
Yeah, I heard they changed stuff from the book. I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Somebody mentioned Raised by Wolves. Yes, we watched Raised by Wolves. I'm a huge fan of the show. I hope that season 3 is going to be good. But we talked about it. We reviewed season 2 on this channel actually with Teresa and Jane. I think it was 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, yeah. Catch the replay.
Yeah.
It was a wild conversation.
Yeah.
Wild show.
Yeah, season 1, I have a review of it like by myself. And then season 2, we did a discussion review, so you can check that out. But yeah, we'll talk about it later. We'll figure out another show to review, and we'll come back here next week. I was thinking maybe we'll do Moon Knight next week, at least like the first 3 episodes, because I think the first 3 episodes will be out next week, and then we can do another one the next 3 episodes. But we'll see, because there's been a lot of conversation around Moon Knight.
Yeah.
So
I'm fighting people in my own chat.
You what?
There's like this in my episode 1 review. I did not like the character of Moonlight, but apparently roughly half the people who commented do like him. And so there's this back and forth constant. People trying to explain to me why I'm wrong. No, I'm not. I'm sorry.
Ooh. See, that's gonna be a good conversation. There's been a lot of heated talk behind Moon Knight from a
They
lot
did
of people.
Steven terrible. I'm sorry. It's
So
terrible.
that's gonna be interesting. Dax, we also did a Reacher review on this channel, so you can check that out as well. It's in the TV series section. Unfortunately, Jane didn't make it, and I know Jane didn't actually like Reacher,
I didn't like it.
but I loved it. It was great. So I'm
The
sorry
guy
that
I
you weren't
just
there.
found annoying. I don't know why.
I thought that was so good. I don't know. I liked it.
He also
But
looks weird to me. Guys who are way too pumped. Like I like big guys, but he just looks like he's blown up.
yeah, it's
Looks
called
weird.
roids, Jane.
Well, that's it.
Oh my
He's on
goodness gracious.
roids. All right. Well, anyways, we're gonna shut it down now. So we'll talk about what show to review at a later point. But thank you, everybody. You guys are awesome. Thank you for coming to hang out with us and talk about Severance, which for some reason I keep wanting to call it Surveillance, but it's called Severance. Severance
It's
on
both.
Apple Plus. Make sure you watch it. It was a good show. Jane, tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me here on YouTube, where I post movie and television reviews and occasionally some pop culture commentary. You can also find me on Twitch, Twitter, and Instagram at Jane Theory.
Ooh, yay. And all her links are in the description. I even put the Twitch one, so make sure you go and subscribe.
Yes.
Miss Martin Muses, tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find me at Miss Martin Muses here on YouTube, where I talk about what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. I'm talking about something that makes me very happy with a Fantasy Tavern this Tuesday with Steve Kenobi and Lady Gravemaster. I believe it will be on Tuesday morning instead of evening because Lady Gravemaster and I have a prior commitment. But and then Silmarillion on Saturdays.
Nice. Perfect. Last but not least, if you are since we're talking about Apple TV Plus shows, if you're looking for like other shows to watch on Apple Plus, I highly recommend Mythic Quest. I love that show, and I can't wait for the 3rd season. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but I just love that freaking show. So yeah, that's my last what's it called? Suggestion. If you guys want to watch it. Have you seen it, Jane? Mythic Quest? Teresa, have you seen it?
Oh, not at all, but I will now that you've mentioned it.
I have not.
Oh my God, you guys will love it. Maybe that's what we'll talk about. Like, because I have a spoiler-free review of it on my channel, but it's so funny, and it's all about like YouTube and gaming and like all that kind of stuff that like our circle would really appreciate. So I freaking love that show. But yeah, so we'll talk about more of that tomorrow. You can find me on Midnight's Edge on Toxic Fam tomorrow night, and then Tuesday on the Real BBC, and then Wednesday on my own channel, and so on and so forth. Follow me on Twitter, where you can find out where I will be, because I usually post where I'll be live streaming Nina7 Infinity. Follow me on there. And again, thank you everybody for coming by and hanging out and live streaming with us. Special big thank you to I forget the person who super chatted. What was their name? Something Wet and Wild.
Low
watermark something.
Yes, I believe that's what it was.
Yes, that person. You are awesome. Thank you so much for that $50 super chat. That was a massive super chat. Thank you. And everybody else, you guys are awesome. Thank you. Hang out in the chat. You couldn't ask for any better chat on earth than my chat here. Yay. You guys are freaking dope. So with that said, we will catch you guys next time. Have a great day. Bye.
Goodbye.
Let me find an outro. And I can't find an outro, so I'll just play one. I'm just gonna play one.
Naked Tom Hiddleston.
Naked Tom Hiddleston. Is that what you want?
Oh, I always want him naked.
All right, fine. Okay, bye, you guys.
I'm so sorry.
I'll survive.
I don't doubt it. You're an excellent specimen. I thought you were empty.
I just moved in.
I'm Charlotte Melville.
Hi. Sorry, I must have fallen asleep.